I place the dessert spoon back on the empty plate and rest both hands on my round belly. Where are the kids? Asks Akil with a smile. Mine or yours? Both. They are outside. Roger is looking after them, don't worry. Good. There is somebody I wanted you to meet. Really? At this time? You already know him. A young man enters the dining room. He is certainly not dressed for the occasion. Why, he just looks like an apprentice running errand for his mentor. That is exactly what I was doing. Huh. Now that I am paying attention, he looks a little pale, and are those tear marks on his boyish face? What I was doing when you killed me, that is. They captured me and dragged me to you. You were a new monster then, not yet the accomplished murderer you have become. We could have had children, family of flesh and bone, and not those pathetic fantasies you still cling to. Says a newcomer to my left. I recognize him. He was Father Perry's son. My talons grip the edge of the table and I move forward a bit now that my figure is as lean as it should be. Yeah. Here. The dining room is full of men clamoring and complaining. I recognize some from my days as an enforcer, the estate where I met Nami, and my days at the Gauntlet. We could have been so much more. Akil grabs my hand. You will never create life. You will never make the world more, only less. Your very existence is. Shut up. I pick a knife and stab him in the wrist. The flesh breaks like porcelain, as if it were solid. I stare into cracking eyes as black as night. The entire assembly is focused on me like a pack of hounds on a wounded deer. I am no wounded deer. I claimed your essences to the last, and you think your pathetic rabble of fools can stop me? Night falls outside and the smell of roast is replaced by wet earth and wood smoke. Something grinds against the walls of the dining room. Something huge, and covered in spikes. The ceiling breaks and strands of baleful purple light shines on the white sheets and posh chairs. You are no hunting party. You are just drained prey I left in my trail. You can't stop us all. Says Crow. I stand up and the wood groans and cracks under my feet. I already have. I wake up to the familiar darkness. Well. That was different. I did not expect a nightmare to lead to anything but my death. This is also the first time that it refers to potential events instead of reinterpretation of my past. Now is not the time for introspection, however. I close my eyes and focus on my hearing. This is a new precaution I have come up with. We are in hostile territory and there is no guarantee that the carriage could not fall into hostile hands. I need to see if anyone is around before I make my presence known. There, a heartbeat. It stands just beside the sarcophagus. I feel a tug on my mind and the beat grows more excited. With a sigh, I open the sarcophagus. I slide the door open, already annoyed. I feel like I am repeating myself in vain, but you should really leave. Yes. Yes. Yes, mistress, you are repeating yourself in vain. I tap on the edge of my haven with a talon. The clinking sound echoes the noise of the rain outside. Dalton's large eyes do not have a hint of mockery. He just stands there being I do not know what he is. We will arrive at the estate within 2 hours. Mr. Bingle says that the heavy rain will help us with our cover as waylaid travelers. Mr. Delaney suggests that you wear the blue dress. The blue dress is formal. Why do I want the formal dress? Why do we simply not move under the cover of the night and the heavy rain and slaughter everything? We already determined these cultists mass kidnap innocents. Just like the Lancaster. Fair enough, I am being hypocritical. Let us just say that I, as the resident vampire in these lands, reserve the exclusive right to the mass kidnapping of innocent people for the sake of sacrificing them to some dark entity, in this specific case myself. There. Now they are an enemy organization and all its members are fair game. This adventure is wearing my patience thin. Dalton leaves and I clean myself quickly, brush my hair and finally open the slit that separates the interior of the carriage from the driver's. Gentlemen. Good evening, Miss Ariane, I hope you are well. I am Mr. Bingle, thank you. I am however concerned by your plan to make yourselves known. Those ruffians are in the habit of capturing people. Why would they not put all of us in chains at the first opportunity? You would prefer that we simply find Flora and make our escape, do you not? Actually, I was planning on slaughtering everything and everyone and then setting the rest on fire. That seems more prudent. Indeed, and I recognize there your kind heart, Miss Ariane. Truly, you are too pure for this world, and indeed what you say makes perfect sense, but for two important factors. First, we do not know how many prisoners they hold, I wager quite a lot. We must also learn of their sinister purposes. I wager those prisoners are not as many as he thinks, the live ones at least. And secondly, I know the type of people who lead such terrible and dreadful schemes. They are vain creatures, eager to display themselves and their extraordinary qualities. Look who's talking. Therefore they will want to show how superior they are, as well as learn how we found them. And we shall let them know, I say. We shall let them know before the night is out. They will rue the day. I ignore the rest of the rant. I am thirsty now. Yesterday I managed to feed a bit from a Choctaw traveler who left his teepee to attend to a natural need. I had to wait for 2 hours for him to come out. He was weakened by the low temperatures and I did not get much vitality. Tonight will be a feast I am looking forward to. As the thirst momentarily overcomes me, I feel my fangs draw out and something tugs on my mind. A pair of large icy eyes reach the slit. Are you all right, miss? The invitation in his eyes is clear. He offers himself, his blood, to me. I should accept, but something makes me uncomfortable. He chose me, not the contrary. He chose me not as supplicant but as something else. I am not in control. I should be in control. I should be the one to select who I want to feed on. It is not normal that one would be willing to serve an abomination like me. All humans should want to kill me because I prey on them. This is unnatural. I think. Right? Bingle interrupts his many promises of retribution and justice to express his concern. Miss Ariane, please do not be alarmed. I know you abhor violence, but this is not my first adventure and I will protect you with my life. You fool, how can you promise such a thing? Can you predict the trajectories of bullets? Can you stop explosions before they deliver their deadly shrapnel? Could you have stopped Master from K enough? Enough of this. He is right, niece, it would be better for us to be invited in. They would lower their guard. Besides, young Dalton will remain hidden inside the wagon and bring us our weapons should we need them. MMH, as always, Loth makes a point. I could not get into the mansion without an invitation. Well thought. Yes, Miss Ariane, young Dalton has proven himself an invaluable help since he joined us. He has been looking after you with dedication, and I am pleased at his change of heart. He is the proof that men who lose their way to darkness can always find the light if they look for courage inside their heart. A truly moving tale, I say. Yes, invaluable help since he showed up at their camp with a wild tale of the valiant companions killing each other. He offered to show the group the way to the cult's base and drowned Bingle with a tale of contrition. It never occurred to the red-haired hero that Dalton's change of heart happened rather late in the group's criminal career. If he is not evil, there is at least something wrong with him. I am unwilling to ask. After we return to civilization, he will have to go. Yes. That would probably be for the best. Around us, pine forests give way to empty fields and basic wooden shacks. I change seats with Dalton, who is supposed to remain hidden, when we reach the outskirts of the cultist base. I can smell cattle, the animal kind, and wood smoke. It is not long before we arrive at the limit of a stone enclosure. If I were still mortal, I would pinch myself and check for a fever. The wall marks the border between semi-wilderness and an outlandish version of a British cottage. Why, I am looking at something out of a book. A beautifully made manor of stone and glass, actual glass, with an arched rooftop of grey tiles sits at the top of a gently inclined hill. Even in the dead of winter, the trees are expertly trimmed and the lawn is taken care of. A small pond lies further to the side and a clean road of white gravel leads from an iron gate to the foot of the grand entrance. A cliff of sheer rock rises 100 yards behind the property, adding a mysterious and grandiose air to the edifice. What am I even looking at? How peculiar, says Bingle. What is peculiar is the color theme. The walls are painted, flawlessly, in white and red. Where are the workers housed? With so many fields there should be at least 30 people tending to them and cattle. They're not living in the manor, I assume. I add. A most astute observation, Miss Ariane. We must assume that there are more buildings we are not yet aware of, and that we should keep an eye open for them. Indeed, who knows how many people live here? I hope we do not find out when they rush us with torches and pitchforks. This stupid plan. I want to leave, find somebody to drink. This farce can only lead to disaster. Gah, why am I so thirsty? I drank my fill less than a week ago. Do I really have to suffer through this for another year? Curses, curses, curses. While I am ranting in the privacy of my addled brain, two men in mud-colored cloth emerge from behind the wall and open the door of the property for us. Maybe I can eat them. There, says Bingle with a comforting voice. He is about to pat my shoulder but then he hesitates and retracts his hand. That's right, my good man, keep your appendages away or I will tear them off and shove them up your. Welcome to the Abernathy estate, gentlemen and lady. May I inquire what business you have here? We let Bingle drown the poor guard in platitudes and a story of lost travelers, unusual itineraries and some such nonsense until he regrets ever asking. Perhaps I should slice his throat to end his suffering, let the warm, red geyser of life. All right, come in, Mr. Abernathy will be delighted to see you. He adds with a sinister smile. If I were a normal girl I would already be out there trying my luck with the grizzlies. Is everybody devoid of common sense? I gnash my teeth as the carriage climbs the small hill and we come in view of the manor's owners, apparently warned of our presence. Come in, gentlemen and lady. I, Rufus Abernathy, would like to formally welcome you to my humble abode. The man who addresses us is in his 50s with carefully combed silver hair and an aristocratic face. He is clean-shaven but for a small mustache and dark eyes. His presence and charisma are impressive and are reinforced by a fetching tweed ensemble. I feel myself warming to his presence despite an inkling of what he is. He introduces his wife Maria, a portly woman with an astoundingly good skin. Her black hair is held in a severe bun, but her smile is warm and welcoming. Those people are good. They really look the part of the kind and welcoming hosts. They smell a little bit wrong, however, particularly the woman. There is something acid and altogether unpleasant about her smell. It is not rot or any disease I can think of. Odd. You are too kind, sir, and we apologize for coming here unannounced. We were set upon by a dreadful storm and I was afraid we would have to spend the night outside, if you would imagine. We follow our host through a grand entrance and up a set of stairs to corridors painted white. The furniture is a bit crude but the ground is spotless. We do not meet anyone on the way and I suspect it is not due to the late hour. My hearing confirms that this place is mostly empty. It is a fa, ade. Abernathy leads us into a large smoking room. Several leather couches surround a coffee table while the walls are covered with books and maps. The smell of cold cigar and alcohol is prevalent. It makes me suspect that this is used as a meeting room of sort. The number of seats hint at 5 or 6 people and I presume that the cult's leadership may include people we haven't met yet. After a short exchange of niceties, Bingle tells our cover story in a performance I judge passable while I do my best to ignore Lady Abernathy's inspection of my appearance. I pretend not to notice, and play the tired and reserved niece until her attention switches to Loath. Free of scrutiny, I examine our surroundings. There is nothing untoward here. No scent of blood or corpse, no suspicious sounds. Were it not for the strange stench emanating from the woman at my side, I could have closed my eyes and imagined being back in New Orleans. With the niceties out of the way, our host finally hits his stride, much to my dismay. America was meant to be a land of opportunity, and so it was for a short while, but man needs to rule and be ruled, and now states and governments spread everywhere to bring order to what they perceive as chaos, but in the end is just what Rousseau would say is the state of nature. Rousseau assumed man to be good at heart, however. Answers Loath. Ah, a fellow philosopher. Would you not agree that? And so they go on. Bingle, who I suspect does not care the least about the enlightened philosopher and would prefer to treat every Frenchman as if they were the devil himself, pouts in silence. It seems that not being the center of attention is an uncomfortable and unfamiliar feeling for our brave gentlemen. I, however, pray that they finish their pointless conversation with commendable haste, or else. To my chagrin, Abernathy keeps on leading the conversation in the tried and true method, which consists in asking a question, pretending to listen, and then saying what you wanted to say to begin with. Now he has masterfully led us to where he wanted to be and starts his main point as tea is served by a shy maid. We who traveled across the ocean to this place have brought with us chains. Those chains I speak of are chains of the mind. We still worship what we should study and pray to what we should strive to understand. The judgment of others stirs the direction in which we. Yada yada yada. I deem myself a scientist and ethical concerns hold me back. I get it. Abernathy now leans forward with a mad glint in his eye, his slight frame animated by the manic energy of the fanatic. You do not seem to agree, Miss Delaney. I should have better schooled my expression. This pretentious fop is dancing a waltz on my already frayed nerve. Should I play the dumb blonde? Should I throw Aristotle's in the fragile construct of his theory? Should I start killing? Enough games. Mr. Abernathy, the road has been long and tiring. Yes, darling, adds his wife, who had been standing there like a scarecrow, we of the fairer sex have little taste for those grand endeavors. Let me take care of the young lady while you men remake the world. A fair point, I wouldn't want to overtax you. Jerk. I stand and bow stiffly. Yes, a breath of fresh air and a drink is exactly what I need right now. Take good care of yourself, niece, we shall see you again later. Yes, don't worry, old man, I shall take really good care of myself, indulge even. The mistress of the house holds my hand and drags me out in the corridor and deeper into the mansion, which I will tolerate without severing it from the rest of her arm, nail after nail, knuckle after knuckle, because I am patient and perfectly in control. After a while, we enter a small tea room with a roaring fire and decoration in shades of red and white, to no one's surprise. A woman in a maid uniform is stirring a log with a cast iron poker. My, your hand is freezing. How about some tea? I would appreciate something hot to drink, Mrs. Abernathy. Excellent. Rose, please give her a cup, my house blend. The maid nods silently. While the water boils, I notice that she has the same wrong smell as her employer, and she's almost paralyzed by anxiety. You must forgive my husband. Ah, those men, always remaking the universe from the comfort of their seats while we toil to make the world around us better through action. I must confess that all those talks about ethics are going over my head. Indeed. I could suggest that she read the classics, starting with Socrates. I remember fighting with Achille, stating that we should act in accordance with virtue, not with what seems the most convenient at the time. I remember him telling me women did not understand such things. I remember informing him this was taken directly from Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics. I remember him mumbling something. I remember needling him about it for a whole week. Good times. It doesn't matter. We are on opposite sides of the conflict. I feel no need to advise someone I may have to kill. I do not have the patience. We exchange a few platitudes until the maid comes and serves me tea. I bring the cup to my lips and take a deep breath in. Essence of laudanum. A very powerful anesthetic. A single gulp would have sent me to dreamland for the next few hours. I raise my eyes to Mrs. Abernathy. I will not consider this oath-breaking because we are already hostile. This is more ruse or... Huh? What? I watch, astonished as Rose swings the iron poker with all her might and crashes it against the mistress of the house's temple. I hear a wet crunch and the woman falls like a puppet with its strings cut. Huh? Wow. She's dead. The maid killed her employer in front of me. Finally, something amusing. SSH. Please do not scream, she whispers, I mean you no harm. Miss, that would work better if you were not waving that red-tinged poker around. Common sense. Never mind, let me just nod. Please do not drink the tea, as it is poisoned. I apologize for this, but we must speak at all costs. Your companions and you are in grave danger. This place is not what it seems. It is a den of sin and iniquity of the most grievous sort. I beg of you, escape this place and take me with you. I turn to the corpse of my deceitful host. The blood dripping from her temple and nose smells abominable. It is not disease or a spell but something tainted and abject. I feel as if someone had taken a painter's masterpiece and covered it in feces. I am beyond disgusted. I will never, ever partake of it. I look at the maid. She is a tall and sturdy girl and the loose uniform barely hides her well-endowed figure. Her face has a kind of honest beauty to it. I would think her smart but guileless. This sudden murder is rather unexpected. Alarmingly, she has the same revolting smell as her former employer. I knew it. I should have fed from Dalton. Why did I wait? Gah. So thirsty. She is in on this conspiracy. Please, I know you must be alarmed and that this is difficult to accept but you must believe me. Those people here, Abernathy, everyone. They kidnap settlers and then they sniff. God as my witness, you are my only chance. We must save your friends and escape. I need to find them, and I need to find Dalton. We expected this. We are looking for someone who was abducted. Wait. You knew. And you still came. The three of you. We, underestimated the size of the group. There is almost 100 people on the compound. Fighting is folly. It is too late now. Let us meet up with the others and at least get our gear back. We can discuss a plan then. Right, quickly before she wakes up. She says. Huh. If she wakes up from that she can start her own religion. Never mind, I should not mention it now. There is no reason to risk her turning hysterical. That would be the last thing I need. The first thing I need is blood, and quickly. Lead the way back to the salon. With any luck they are still listening to Abernathy's disjointed rant so my uncle and his friend can overwhelm him. I grab the late mistress under her shoulder and pull her behind a couch, then I cover her with a table sheet while trying to ignore the smell of excrement. When I return to Rose, she is staring at me warily. Ah yes, I was supposed to be the brainless blonde. Ah, you are more, resourceful than I thought. I came prepared, although not prepared for this. You surprised me. I suppose. I shall lead the way. Stay behind me and all should be well. Yes. We walk back through an empty corridor. Yes, I remember. Now we go right and... I hold Rose back as she is about to turn and pull her towards me. She looks at me in confusion until I hold a finger in front of my lips and point towards our destination. We peek across the corner. A large group of very burly men is dragging two struggling shapes to parts unknown. There goes the team. I knew this was a stupid idea from the beginning. I should never had agreed. Pathetic hunters. Buffoons. All right. Calm. Enough. Loth has probably decided to play along and he is counting on me to drink, to save him later. All right. I can't just go in and drown the place in tainted blood, how dare they? Roaches. Mongrels. Yes. Yes, fine, I shall wait. I shall rescue them the old-fashioned way, with dumb luck and outrageous plans that should not work. No, we are too late. What should we do? My unfortunate companion whispers. Calm down. Do you know where they are taken? Yes. Yes, I do, all the prisoners are held in cells inside the mountain. Inside the mountain? What is this? Shakespeare's Tempest. Will I meet Queen Mab and Puck? Gah. This is all Bingle's fault. Him and his stupid fate magic. Can you lead me there? Yes, I was held there before I joined them. She shivers. There will be guards and other people on the way. We need weapons and we need a disguise. Weapons first. Do you know where they took the carriage? I do, near the stables and the pens. Follow me. I trail Rose through a set of doors and smaller stairs. We do not come across anyone and soon reach a side of the manor. In front of me stand the stables and in the distance, I can see a few barns of great size, possibly home to over 100 beasts. More houses rise around interspersed with trees. After a quick glance to the silent watcher for serenity and good luck, I order Rose to walk ahead while I stealthily move after her. My guide only crosses path with a patrol of two burly men walking around before we reach our destination. I easily avoid them by sticking to the shadows. There is something wrong with them that I had not noticed on the gate guards. They carry the same smell as Lady Abernathy, only stronger. There is something too mechanical about their steps and their skin is too smooth for outdoor people. Their vigilance is also terribly lacking. It is not due to overconfidence or laziness, rather, their eyes are fixed in front of them with a strange focus instead of roaming around like proper scouts, seeing nothing and everything at once. All my instincts scream not in fear, but in outrage. This is more than blood wasted, the people here have desecrated that which should have remained untouched, for the good of everyone. I need to get to the bottom of this and stop it, even if it means revealing what I am. We enter the stable in total silence. Once more I grab Rose. Shoo, do you smell this? Smell what? Blood and death. The woman moves in the darkness with a lack of concern I find both admirable and stupid. A moment later, she bumps into a prone body and falls with a most unladylike epithet. Perhaps this will help. I add as I light a lantern. Of course, silly me. I just wanted to be inconspicuous, in case Lord above. Inconspicuous? You opened the door like a drunk octogenarian, fumbled like a gravid hippopotamus and managed to fall heel over head? You are as inconspicuous as an 8-month pregnancy, you undrinkable daft sow. Let me just kill every last person here besides Loth, set everything on fire, then sod off. Gah. Somebody is dead. Oh my God. There is blood everywhere. I help the woman stand up and make sure she doesn't get blood on the white part of her dress. The lantern's light falls on the remains of a burly man. He had his throat slit. Whoever did it left nothing to chance. The wound is so deep his head is half detached. I move the lantern to the open door of the carriage, and another door opposite us. Another guard lies dead against it. The front of his chest is a mangled mess of shredded fabric and gaping puncture wounds. He was stabbed with incredible savagery. Dalton. I cannot pick the scent of pure blood, not even a hint. A quick look in the carriage confirms that our conventional weaponry is gone. He made it out with our guns. I choose to believe he will fulfill his part, but this display of absurd violence makes me proud. Competent vassal. Dutiful. Cunning. Will reward. Oh no 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 no, dear instincts of mine, let us not get carried away. This is a good point, however. Later. Our weapons are gone, and so is our ally. We must. Rose is looking quite green around the gills. Perhaps throwing up will make her feel better. Rose? My God, all this blood. And those people are. I rotate the woman and stare into her eyes. Rose, I know you are unaccustomed to violence and this is hard to take, but now I need you to focus. We are still very much in danger. I need you to help me find the others, so we can all leave together. I don't want to go back there. They dragged me in after they raided our caravan. I did not want to, but I drunk the Jesus. You drank what? Blood? She gasps. How did you know? It is standard for a cult. They do this to make you feel bad, to make you feel like you do not deserve to be saved, but redemption does not depend on them now, does it? No, no indeed, it depends on the will of God. I will not let them win. I will be redeemed, once we find and save the others. If I turn away now, I will never forgive myself. There, it worked. Oh, Miss Ariane, you are so strong and courageous. How I wish I could be like you. Shoo, you are more courageous than you know, Rose. You fought their influence alone, and you saved me from the poison. Use this iron will of yours, for the night is not done. Are you with me? Yes, by God, yes. I shall show you the way. Gah, finally. Why do all my motivational talks make the others think of God? I assure you, he was not included in the making of me. After drying her tears, my guide raises herself to her full height, takes a deep breath, and we step outside. I follow Rose through paths and thickets to the edge of the mountain, until I see it. If the estate itself has already been impressive, this goes beyond my expectations. 2 torches sit in a small clearing with a stone path leading to an impressive gate into the very rock. I am reminded of the vampire fortress access to the underground structure, so grandiose and unexpected the view is. 3 guards stand with muskets and torches around it. There will be no sneaking in, at all. I need a disguise. Oh, yes, that would be better. I know. I follow her back. The cult's quarters are not only barracks as I had assumed. The women have their own personal sheds. I assume that Abernathy drags the choice morsels to one of his opulent bedrooms when the urge takes him, so the sheds are meant to provide intimacy for lieutenants. That brings all of them in the rapist category. There is no consent when the alternative is death. We find an unlocked door which Rose pushes open. This used to belong to Sophia, but she disappeared shortly after I got inducted. Guilt mars her expression before she regains control. She does have a good heart. As for the dearly departed Sophia, I do not doubt that she was set as an example. I do not believe for a moment that Abernathy believes in the sanctity of human lives. In short order, I put on a maid uniform. It is a bit tight around the hips as usual. It will be a pain to move in. We clean up and reach the gate once more. There are 4 sentinels this time, all alert. Most of them wear a dull brown overcoat except one. He is wearing all white and radiates arrogance. Behind me, I can hear shouts and the barks of dogs. It appears that someone kicked the hornet's nest. Rose leads the way and I smell tainted blood. A drying pool of respectable size was spilled to the door's right. 4 pairs of eyes follow us, and when we arrive, one of the men interrupts us. And what are you doing here, Rose? We carry a message for the jailers. Let us through. Do you, now? And why are you the one to carry this message? Should it not be a guard as usual? I smell fear from her. She is about to falter. As expected, she is not one for deceit. All the guards are covering the ground so they can flush out the intruders, sir. The man turns to me and raises an eyebrow. His eyes roam over my body with a complete lack of decency. He might be clean and tidy, but there is something twisted about him that reminds me of the Lancaster. Malice backed by cunning. And who might you be? Ari, sir, I drank yesterday. The man is more alert and careful than all the others. Put together. I put out my best act. I lower my head in embarrassment. I am the newcomer, not quite yet indoctrinated. I feel fingers reaching for my chin. Main gut kill. No, later, he is no threat to me. I can kill him when I want. He lifts my face. I keep my eyes lowered so he doesn't see the fury in them. You do have the pure skin. Leonard. This is not the time for your games. Rose came to my defense. Of course, I will see you two, later. Rose grabs my hand. We rush up some stupid stairs. Breathe in, breathe out. I can do it. Everything is under control. I will free the stumbling idiots, then tear limb RIP head pull innards. HSSS. Miss Ariane. Nothing. Can't look up now. Silent watcher hidden. Must focus. Rose quietly guides me up a massive central staircase and then through a big side door. The two men guarding it let us pass without a word. I smell Dalton's blood. Not enough to kill him. So intoxicating. Why did I ever refuse him? He shall be rewarded for his efforts, I will bless him with my kiss. A proper vassal. Yes, I will do all of that. The passage we take is much darker than the previous one. The stone is rough and sparsely lit by torches. We follow it to yet another door, without guard this time. I get into the sound of flesh hitting flesh. We stand in an antechamber. It is a guard post of sorts, with chairs, a rough wooden table with a deck of cards and a rack holding rifles and crude sabers. A pistol was left unattended and its handle bears the enticing smell of Dalton's blood. Light shines through an opening leading to a well-lit chamber ahead. I hold Rose and take a moment to lock the door with a set of keys next to it, which I then hide in a barrel. I open the firing mechanism of every musket I find and let the powder drop on the ground. After I am done, we cross the threshold. This is a large guard's room, mostly devoid of furniture but for chests and tables set against the wall. 5 men are gathered in a circle kicking the prostrated form of Dalton. No, he is mine to dispose of as I wish. Gentlemen. Excuse me. Hello. The group slows the beating. They blink and look at us like people waking up from sleep. It seems that most guards lack something essential, a sense of self perhaps. They are just too passive. A bit like drones. We are here to see the prisoners. One of you will lead us to them. Now. I sense resistance. They are still human, and I do not fit into the category of people who can give them orders. They stir. We were sent by the master himself. Do not waste his time. I back the claim by the barest hint of suggestion. I focus on the one who seems most alert. Fair enough. Phillips, you show them our guests. The rest of you back to your post. And you, Wallace, take the boy to a cell. Wallace and Phillips move and open the reinforced door opposite the entrance with the grace and energy I associate with ruminants. We follow them inside a narrow corridor lined with cells. I close the door behind us, which makes Rose look at me with worry, and catch up to the group. I bypass the girl and lift a truncheon from Wallace's belt. He does not notice. Wallace drags Dalton's unconscious form inside one of the dark rooms. It takes all my self-control not to follow them. The vassal needs us. Protect then consume. No, I shall stick to my plan. Phillips leads us to the very last cell. As the door clanks open, I smash the truncheon in his neck with far too much strength. The noise is covered by the whine of the rusty hinge. I pick the key and wordlessly hand it to Rose. There must be something wrong with me because she pales and nods frantically. We pass one another. She stinks. They all do. They do not belong here, on this planet. They need to die. I get in Dalton's cell at an unhurried pace. The cow-like guard stares dumbly when I get in. He looks surprised when my hand wraps around his trachea. His eyes bulge when I wrench his neck like a chicken's. I throw the twitching corpse to the side. What have they done to my vassal? A single liquid eye opens, unfocused. The other is covered by a purple bruise. Blood everywhere. They broke his nose. Thirsty, so thirsty. He lifts a wounded arm to me. I grab his chain. I pop the collar like a rotten piece of fabric. There is something calm and relaxed in him, a sense of certainty, faith. I lick the wound on his brow. The blood calls to me. The tear is healed. The vassal is safer, as it should be. I feel weird, and I feel like I am starving. I need to feed, but it will kill him. I don't want to kill him. He is my vassal, not cattle. The first one. The first of many. Somebody enters behind me. Man, fresh sweat, cologne. The adventurer. Can kill. No, oath break, oath to loath. Cannot drink friends and business partner. Thirst. Hand reaching for me. No right. Tear limb. Cecil. Ah, my apologies, I forgot, loath. No touching. The boy though. Let me handle it. She is very fragile. Please wait for us outside, I. Very well my friend, I am sorry. Not your fault. Someone steps out. Mountain and Steel get closer. Loath. Ally. Oath. Must not kill. I'll help him. Vassal needs help. Ally can offer. I cannot. Not in control. Thirsty. I nod. Yes, ally. Do it. Mountain and Steel leans forward. I need to get my supplies back. It's in the guard room. I will be back. 6 little praise, fire sticks neutered. Do not let them run. I am sorry Ariane. Stupid, fragile, slow mortals. If Master were here, we could just tear through them and be done. I repeat myself, in English this time. 6 little praise, fire sticks neutered. Do not let them run. All right. Stinky woman comes closer. Temporary ally. Still useful. Displays worry, concern, not a threat. Sounds from exit. Fighting. Noisy one making claims, being boisterous. Sounds of flesh beaten and torn. Can feel the silent rage of the Mountain and Steel. Good. Soon done. Mountain is back. Applies magic to vassal's wound. Stable. Good. We need to go. Rose, pick Dalton. What about Miss Ariane? She will follow and no matter what, do not touch her, I. Yes, sir. The stinky woman picks up the vassal with reverence. Care. Only stinky, still useful. Tolerate for now. Cannot touch vassal. Could kill. Follow through doors, bowels of rock. Stinky woman guides from behind. Reach vast staircase. Go up. Hear sounds. Go left. Close access. They go up. I follow, I do not follow. Something in the way. Metal bars with silver thingy. Magic. Ari, Look at me, says Steel and Mountain. I do. You need to go back and hide before they find us. We triggered the alarm. Try to hide. We'll come back for you, all right? You need to make it out. I nod. Try to hide. Thirst. They leave. Nowhere to hide. Up. Climb up, one hand, 1 foot on each wall. Hidden. Wait. Men come in. A dozen. Torches. A dog whimpers. 3 of them are dressed in white, the other 10 or so, in brown. The dog panics. 2 of the white ones are arguing. Dog tries to run. One of the white ones frowns. Sniffs the air. Brows raise. It looks up. It sees me. It smiles. I am no longer hidden. Something bumps against my chin. It is a pendant. I know it. Inside there is a note stained by tear. It says this. I love you, remember your promise. I cannot die before my father. I made the oath. Well, my pretty, let's get you down. There are no witnesses here. Only the stinky ones and my oath. HSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSS Beautiful patterns in shades and strands. Pure red, stained beyond measure, both holy and blasphemous. I can hear them sing. They long to be free. I have 10 needles and 8 knives. The 8 knives cannot do. They, too, are holy. The needles are used for dirty work, like now. Patterns flow free and pure. Other patterns fall towards me, they want to stop the dance but cannot. The dance is alive with the song of the night, the purity of the hunt. Brown canvas falls quickly, the white canvas leaves so that they are the head of the painting. It is all right, they are leading me to something greater. I go through a neck in the fabric. More brown pieces of canvas join at the shoulders. I follow the 3 white ones towards the right arm. Some of the canvas use faster and noisier patterns and one of them bites into me. It does not hurt much, but a little of the precious liquid is lost. My own ink. It calls for more, too concentrated. Strong but tired. I need more so that I can keep painting. More canvas is unmade as potential and made as fleeting perfection. Their strands blow like stars and bouquets, beautiful and rotten. The 3 go to another neck. I follow, there is no more brown canvas. I enter a room. A circle on the ground. Yet another canvas stands with the 3 others. This one is untainted. I can get more ink. I move forward and the circle comes alive. Patterns of silver block my way. Impregnable. I am trapped. Keep pushing the pattern until I. No. Hurts damn it. So thirsty cannot take it anymore. Never since more alright, need to focus. I knew your kind would show up. Your arrogance and selfishness know no bounds. You try to keep the secrets of immortality to yourselves. But you will not triumph, oh no, this is a new world and a new century. A time of science and enlightenment. No longer will your powers be in the hands of the few. I shall usher in a new age of. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Push the pain away from the core. Think. Instincts will not help here. I am inside of a magic circle. I am trapped. But not all is lost. Loth taught me the basics of magic and I know what I can do to escape. Magic requires 3 things: power, symbolism, and will. The power feeds magic in the working. Symbolism is the core of the working. Symbols are used to translate power into concepts. Mages use runes, bones, dice, and so on to give a frame, boundaries. will shapes the meaning and unleashes it upon the real world. Thus is intent made manifest and reality is altered. I do not have power, therefore I cannot cast spells. Loth mentioned that old vampires can use blood magic, but this is an impossibility for me. I cannot counter the spell. I cannot stop the power, nor the will. I can, however, ruin the symbols. I slowly grab Jimena's gift from a holster against my thigh. Everything hurts. I can't even stand straight, so intense is the pain in my guts. I look at the circle. I recognize the runes. Western Standard. All mages from Europe use it, with minimal variation. There should be. There. The rune for Ul's, containment. I stab towards it. Away. Burns, skin scalded, but containment rune is now understanding rune. The circle flickers. The man stops talking. Need one more. Change hand. Find another Ul's. Stab. Ayahaha. Dry sobs, other hand hurts. Fire sticks roar and something punches me in the left arm, something else in my breast. I cough blood. Arm dangles. Dagger fallen. Pick up with other arm. I walk forward, too wounded to run, too weak to move. A man in white is too stunned. Slit throat. Tainted blood. Need the leader. Another man jumps at me. Fire whip. I swipe where I know the spell will lash. Easy to predict. The man falters. I stab him. I keep moving. Leader back against the wall. Cannot fight anymore, barely enough strength to. No, stay away. Nasty dagger aimed at my chest. Cannot block. Need to take and bite at the same time. Thok. Mind pops like a bubble. Huh. I fall. Dark red blood spills on the ground. Thoughts. Broken. Huh. Exhaustion. Darkness. Potent blood for the experiments, Leonard. Over there next to the others, and cover her in chains. Costly, but think of the possibilities. She is fully turned, we now have a benchmark. Time passes. Sometimes I move my eyes. There are bricks. Sometimes I hear a sound. People are crying. Sometimes I smell fear and unwashed bodies. And blood. Time passes. I cough. A few droplets flash blue and turn to ash. Time passes. A flake of ash falls from my finger. It won't be long now. Time passes. Something is traveling underground. When it emerges from the ground, all will be ash. Time passes. It's cold, and sometimes very hot when I cough, but mostly cold. Time passes. Something grabs me. Pair of brown eyes. Worry, pain, guilt. I close my eyes. No, Ari, tear, Ari, stay with me. Loath. Sawed off Cecil, she ain't dead yet. I need privacy. Now. Something wet falls on my face. I breathe in. Steel and mountain. Feels safe. Can go now. I breathe in something fantastic. Absolutely incredible. Exquisite. I open my eyes, a red wrist. It forcefully parts my cracked lips. The pure liquid seeps on my tongue, drips down my throat. Ayahawk. Yes. I stand in the middle of a battlefield. Crags and green grass, and the sea beyond. My chest is bare but for blue woad and black hair. A man charges me, shield up. I bury a heavy axe in it. He loses his balance. I pull and he falls forward. My other axe kisses his neck. I roar in laughter and jump to the next warrior. A vast hall. Sturdy men and women drink and make merry. Meat juices flow down my chin and on my beard, and that blonde lass keeps reaching between my legs. A gray-bearded man grabs my shoulder and I smile to him. He is so proud and happy. Father, my heart is full. My feet dig in the mattress. Both my hands grasp the sheet. Agna smiles mischievously and licks her flushed lips. I want to grab her heavy breast, tease those erect nipples, yet I do not. She smiles wider, she grabs my arms with her own and lowers her torso, sinuous and sensual. I see the white of her belly, I smell her arousal. Her soft skin brushes mine. Nails drift against my skin. I shiver. Her head is level with my chest. She kisses me lightly. I moan. I do not move. She raises her hips and her mound rubs against my manhood. I feel moist skin and pubic hair made wet by her ardor. I pant with desire and still, I do not move. I close my eyes. Something incredibly soft and wet parts to let me in. She sheathes herself with agonizing slowness. Her sigh of ecstasy tickles my ear. Still, I do not move. She lowers herself to grab more of me. Her hip rolls against mine and I can take it no longer. With a soft growl, I collapse as she laughs and grabs my back. I take a firm cheek with one hand, her graying hair in the other, and I move inside her, slow and steady. Soon, her giggles turn to moans and she answers my rhythm with her own, guiding me towards her bliss. We accelerate and tenderness turns to a relentless dance, one we have mastered over the years. I go as deep as I can and her legs twist on my back to lock me in. After a while, we turn frantic and I barely manage to control myself. With a last moan, she rakes my back as her whole body stills. I keep the exact same speed and soon we climax together. Her body spasms as I empty myself inside of her. Our moans of release shake the walls of our home. A minute later, we catch our breath, I roll on my back and she falls asleep on my shoulder. I am safe. I am happy. The last shovelful of black earth leaves the hole. There, that should be deep enough. Someone gouged my chest a day ago and filled it with brine and ice. Agna is dead. The pain I feel cannot be expressed with words, it cannot be expressed with deeds. It is so immense, so incredibly overwhelming, that it covers the entirety of creation and then some. Agna is dead. Her mortality caught up with her. I pick up the covered body and gently lower it. Then I exit the tomb and fill it with earth. I would fill it with gold, diamond, and the heads of emperors if she had let me. She wanted good earth and flowers instead, so I plant the flowers, take my bag and leave. My younger brother challenged me today. He and my wife planned a coup. I saw the fear when I took my axe. He knows what I can do. I do not kill him. Instead, I leave. I walk north and take a ship to Greenland, then I start walking. Let them have it if they want it so much. I care not. It is frigid and I am too thin. I munch on the cold fish I caught from the depth. Tasteless. There is land to the south. I am tired of this. I want to travel to a better place, to forget. Ariane, please, Tyr, answer me. My consciousness rises to the surface. Elloth? Yes. Yes, I'm here, lass. I'm here. I cough a bit. I spit out something sticky and disgusting. I feel a wet cloth clean my mouth. How are ye feeling? HNN, as if Asni and the carriage trampled me a dozen times, then left me to dry under the sun. I crack open my eyes. It's difficult to concentrate. Things come in and out of focus. All sounds come to me distorted. I feel so weak. Eerie, lucky my blood is potent. I fear. I fear the worst may have happened otherwise. For a fledgling to suffer so much and live I did not dare hope. I try to lift an arm to my chest but I fail. The left one is bandaged tight and the right one is unusually heavy. Wow, slow down. Bandages? Eerie still not fully healed. Your arm was punched clean through. Eerie lucky it's still attached. Ye also got lacerations, burn marks and a bullet through the right lung. And your heart was stabbed. I don't feel thirsty. What can I say, I am delicious. We stay silent for a while, then. I think I need a moment. I feel pain, though less than I should. More than that I feel empty, drained. I know we are probably still in danger but cannot bring myself to care. A little of the apathy I felt earlier still clings to my psyche despite the holes in my chest now being closed. I decide to focus on just breathing, not because I need air, but because it has always helped me settle. I count 30 cycles before I turn my face up to Loth again. Shouldn't we be on the move? We need some time to organize the prisoners we just freed. The cultists have taken some of them and regrouped higher in the mountain complex. We must prepare before we continue. How are the others? Everybody is fine. Dalton has cracked ribs, nothing too serious. I gave him a tonic and he will be able to function for another 4 hours, then he will crash down. Loth pauses long enough for me to realize he is considering something. He found you. He did. Yes. He knew where you went, somehow. You bonded. We will have to discuss this later, in greater detail, when we have time. Right. Do we have a plan to get out? I cannot fight any more tonight. I think you will need a few days to recover, at the very least. Before we discuss a plan I have to ask. What happened? What managed to take you down? I recount my evening to Loth. He frowns at the mention of tainted blood, raises his eyebrows in surprise when I mention that there are 2 mages left, and shows barely restrained anger when I share my pain. There, you have it. I expect that there are at least 20 more guards, 15 tops if they did not pull back from the property grounds. The 2 mages are also a problem. Your immense thirst almost killed ye because I did not anticipate this. You could not. Do not make excuses fair me, young one. I brought you on my raid and ye almost starved. This is my failure, and I will reflect on it when we are done here. As for the plan, I will explain when everyone is ready. I finally take the time to look around. We stand in the middle of a vast, rectangular room with a single wide door. Chains are attached to the bare stone wall at regular intervals. Most are empty, but some still hold captives. As I watch, Bingle and Dalton walk around to free prisoners. They are a sorry lot, thin and weakened, but most look angry and eager for revenge. A small group of women stands near the exit huddling together protectively. Every one of them is pale and filthy. The cell has a rancid stench of unwashed bodies, old sweat, and excrement. Maybe we should. Let's wait for a while. When we found ye, ye looked like a corpse. I thought never mind that lass. Just give it 1 more minute. Eerie already holler. Hail. A vampire? I begin to protest, however, I realize that I do not want to move. I am warm here, and safe. Just 5 more minutes, then I will stand up. MMRGLM. Sorry Ari, we gotta go now. Come on. Loth hoists me up and drags me to the rest of the group. I can barely put 1 foot in front of the other. 2 women I do not know rush to take me under the armpit. We thought you were dead, miss. I thought I was dead too. I close my eyes for a while until I hear someone clearing their throat. I look up to see Bingle's worried face. Miss Delaney, I cannot express how sorry I am to see you in this state. I failed to protect you. My shame knows no bounds. Do not fret, good sir, if you recall, this was my decision to put myself in harm's way. And I remember recommending against it, and if you had followed my recommendation, I would be currently rotting in a cell and awaiting a fate most cruel. You saved my life twice tonight, Miss Delaney, when you braved those corridors to free me, and when you sabotaged our jailer's muskets. I shall never forget it. You have my word as a Bingle. Ah, I thank you for your gratitude, and yet I cannot accept it, for are we not saving each other? In the face of such evil, can good souls do else but to rise up to the challenge? Well said, I say, well said. By Jove, what a loss it is for the armed forces that you were born a woman. I am most blessed to have met people such as you and Loth. Thank you, Mr. Bingle. Now, I dare not ask, but did you find Mrs. Schaefer? Ah, I should not have asked. How very tactless of me. Alas no. But I do not despair. There are still captives to be saved, and if not, I shall find a trace of her passage. I shall not grieve, nor relent until the light is shed on her fate, whatever it may be. There is something chivalrous about this man, an indomitable will to fight with the belief that in the end, good will triumph. Behind all the boisterous claims and bombastic sentences, Bingle has courage, honor, and compassion. I think he was born in the wrong time, that he should have been a knight riding fearlessly in the defense of the innocents. This anachronism makes him sympathetic and his friend's certain death all the more tragic. We can but hope. Indeed. Now I shall address this crowd and then we will set out to end this menace once and for all. Do you think it wise, sir? Many of those men are weakened. Yes, Miss Delaney, for where you see sheep, I see starving wolves, and they shall be led by a lion. With this optimistic statement, Bingle calls for anyone's attention and we gather in a small crowd facing Loth and him. Ladies and gentlemen, it is good that we were able to release you from the clutch of those faithless heathens, those worshippers of idols and devilry. Yet our task is not done. Although it is my fondest wish to see you all depart this forsaken place safely, I must ask, nay, beg you for assistance. Indeed, there is still a hurdle on the road to freedom. Our enemies stand strong and we are still in the black heart of their keep. I cannot prevail alone, and I find myself compelled to call on you brave souls for help. I know that your burden was great. You traveled west to find a new life, safe from starvation, oppression, tyranny. And on the cusp of success, succor was stolen from you by the most horrid of foes. Your pains are great and you have lost friends and family, and yet you still stand before me. Undaunted and unbroken. Yeah. Hear, hear. Those hateful curs thought you an easy take, but settlers are made of stern stuff and they shall regret ever laying their filthy hands on you. And I ask you, my brothers and sisters in arms, will we allow this injustice to continue? Will we bend the knees like pigs to be slaughtered? Will we forfeit our dignity? Nay. Indeed not. For our hearts cry for justice and the righteous glory of the Lord. We shall not surrender, we shall overcome, and may God have mercy on their souls. Yeah. I watch mesmerized as Bingle works the crowd. I finally realize why he is so convincing, it is because he is convinced himself. His eyes shine with emotion, his face is reddened with passion. He truly believes this motley crew capable of defeating 24 well-armed guards, and he will personally lead them into battle. As the yells of fury die down, Bingle asks for everyone's attention as Loth walks to a wall where he draws a map with white chalk. The cultists have gathered in their ceremony room. It is a vast open cavern leading to a sheer cliff. It could easily hold 200 people. We expect the cultist head to be at the altar which is situated in the middle of the cave and close to the edge. There is a main entrance that will undoubtedly be guarded, however, we have found an alternate way. On one side, the cave wall rises to an elevated platform from whence Lady Abernathy could watch the proceedings. There is a very small corridor that leads to this platform and we shall take it. We will distribute muskets shortly. The best marksmen will stay on the elevation to provide covering fire while the bulk of us will jump down and engage the guards. Sir Bingle is volunteering to lead the attack himself. With the leader dead, the drones will be affected. I need to make sure it happens sooner rather than later. There are no questions. Loth and Bingle distribute weapons taken from guards. There are truncheons, the odd saber, and a few old muskets. I would be worried if our opponents were not in the same situation. Rose and the men lead the way out, and I notice Dalton standing guard outside. He joins me when he sees me. "Thank you, friends, I think I can stand now." The two women let me go with a nod and a knowing smile. Dalton silently hands me my pistol, some ammunition and one of my throwing knives. "There you go, mistress." In his eyes, I find the same tranquil faith, the same blind acceptance as before. I find it hard to reconcile this peaceful demeanor with the mangled corpse of the stable sentinel, its chest turned to ruin by relentless stabbings. It finally occurs to me that Dalton would make an excellent vampire. There is, of course, no way for me to turn him into one. I can still keep him as a vassal. Do you understand the choice you have made? You are bound to me now. I told you the night we met. I will never betray you, and I know where to go. I turn away, unable to face him any longer. I do not want the responsibility of another person. Or do I? It is only suitable for me to have a vassal. With him, I can easily hunt bounties, purchase lands, sign contracts. The possibilities are endless. There is much I can accomplish with you. Yes, mistress. I can already imagine it. We would track our quarry, then Dalton could handle the authorities while I snack. I would not even have to go into Partridge's house anymore. No more will I have to face tasteless Christian imagery. This is great. Are you feeling better, mistress? Oh, I can walk, but I cannot fight. You will have to do without me. Not to worry, mistress. I believe your uncle has reached the end of his patience. We silently move up a set of stairs, down dark alleys and corridors interspersed with storage rooms and studies. We do not meet anyone on the way, and the silence is only broken by footsteps and tired breathing. We finally stop while inside a particularly dark and twisted passage, and instructions roll down the line in frantic whispers. "We're there, keep silent and wait for the signal before attacking." What kind of signal would that be anyway? Bingle never said. Was he really an officer of His Majesty's army? This is amateurish, I believe. Little by little, the group enters a monumental cave. We stand on an elevated balcony with a low stone parapet. Below us, the cavern extends in every direction. Illumination is provided by iron candelabra suspended here and there. The reddish light of torches reflects on the sheer rock with an ominous glint. A natural opening into the side of the cliff on our left only shows the night's cloudy sky, while on our right, the cave ends up in a massive set of doors. Our target stands in the center, surrounded by braziers and armed goons. He holds a chalice over a white altar, and as we watch, a captive is dragged to its marble surface to be secured with bindings. A group of prisoners is kneeling beside, waiting for their turn. My senses are coming back, and even from here, I can tell that the stench I smelled in everyone comes from what this chalice contains. The fact that I am not shaking with fury is a testament to how weakened I am. Now we just have to get in position while they are focused on making this victim drink. "You have shed blood for the last time, foul fiend. Have at them, lads, for king and country. Ka-a-warj." Bingle grabs one of the ropes that secures a candelabra and cuts it at the base. As the implement falls on the head of an unfortunate goon, he is propelled forward and up, lands feet first on another guard's chest, and rushes the cult head with a furious yell. At the same moment, Loth bellows a deafening roar that washes over the cave as he jumps down and crashes against a hastily drawn line of opponents. They are sent flying like ragdolls before his fury. A second later, the rest of the men reach him and lay into their enemies with vicious enthusiasm. So. That was the signal. Ha! I turn to Dalton and remember to close my mouth. Did he just? It's been like that for the whole evening, mistress. My consternation is interrupted when the gates slam open and another squad of guards comes to the help of their beleaguered allies. They are led by a man in white, the surviving mage, Leonard. Over there. I scream. The musket team was hesitant to shoot at the melee, but the newcomers are exposed and close enough to be easy targets for even an inexperienced marksman. The sounds of detonations and the smell of powder soon fill the air as both groups exchange shots. 2 guards soon fall, but on our side, one man falls back clutching the ruins of his left hand. Let me. A burly woman grabs the fallen combatant's gun while a few others pull him to safety. She reloads with expertise, and a few seconds later, yet another guard collapses with a smoking hole in his chest. Seeing that our cover advantage is too great, the mage orders his troop behind him and rushes our position. The balcony is on a slope, which means that they will reach us too easily. Shield. 2 lead bullets crash uselessly against a transparent barrier to our side's consternation. Sorcery. Keep firing. I push myself against the wall and Dalton kneels against the parapet. An instant later, 5 guards led by a furious Leonard jump on the landing and push the men back. I notice Jimenez's knife on his belt. Oh no, he didn't. With a vicious smile, he raises his gauntlet to the fallen shooters and panicked women. You should have stayed in your cages. That's when I shoot him. The bullet goes cleanly through his skull and covers his neighbor in brain matter. He should have kept his shield up and his grimy paws off my precious knife. Ha! The drones turn to me and charge. I move to the side and collapse instantly with a hiss of pain. I watch powerless as a guard raises his truncheon. This is going to hurt. Dalton jumps on the foe's back and stabs him like a madman. My enemy falls with a yelp of pain. Our men regroup and charge back, but I watch, powerless, as a second guard raises his truncheon. No escaping it this time. This is going to hurt. Lady Delaney showed us the way. Yeah. A massive woman in a white bonnet and the clothes of a baker smashes into the goon with the power of a freight train. I can hear the toof as air leaves his lungs and the crack of bones when she pins him into the wall like an ugly butterfly. With a deafening shriek, the rest of the women slam into the beleaguered guards with terrifying fury, overwhelming them in seconds. Goons are pummeled into the ground with boots, stones, and white-hot rage. I can scarcely believe my eyes. Not even the gauntlet displayed this magnitude of unleashed violence. I stand up, pick up my blade and walk from group to group, delivering a jab when the guard is still moving a bit, and in short order our victory is total. Below us, the fight is also taking a turn for the better. Our side would have been losing were it not for Loth of Skorag. Suffice to say, the man has had enough. I can only imagine that following Bingle on his silly adventure has frayed his nerves. He is currently right where he wants to be, in the thick of battle. As I watch, he grabs the neck of an enemy who was about to kill one of our own and throws him in the feet of another. He then dodges a club and punches his assailant in the face, breaking his nose. As the man raises his hands to his face with a cry of pain, Loth gives him a gut punch of such strength that his opponent's feet lift off the ground, then kicks him in the head. The guard flies back into one of his partners. Half of his teeth stay where they are. I know for a fact that he can kill more efficiently. He is just letting off steam. Men, I swear. My attention turns to Bingle, who seems to be in a bit of a predicament. The cultist leader is harrying him with a fire whip spell which he manages to deflect with his saber. Unfortunately, Abernathy manages to snag the blade and tear it out of his hand. Bingle stumbles and Abernathy uses this opening to use a push spell. Our adventurer is propelled against the altar and I can tell he is in pain. I turn around and urge the nearest marksman to look at the leader and shoot him. It is already clear that I will be too late. You are blinded by your ignorance, fool, screams Abernathy hysterically. It is you who cannot see, retorts Bingle as he throws the cult's blood chalice. His opponent is caught off guard, and although he stops the goblet with his arm, its contents splash over his face. Bingle ignores his distressed screams to jump back into the fray. He grabs his blade and puts an end to his vile foe. The rest of the cultists still fight to the bitter end, but they are disheartened and without a head to think for them, they only offer us token resistance. In short order, we stand victorious. It is finally over. People cheer and jeer, hug and cry. Bingle walks under the acclamation of the mass. His clothes are singed, he is hurt and tired, and yet there is a spring in his step as he walks triumphant from group to group, shaking hands and patting shoulders. Dalton and I gather the wounded and bring them to Loth, who sets up a temporary infirmary. There is a lull of activity when everyone catches their breath, and I use this opportunity to approach the mouth of the cave. Finally, a reprieve. It is at this moment that I regret never learning how to draw. The land lays before me for miles in so many valleys and plains. The mountain range extends to my right at a sharp angle, and the sky is enormous, almost overbearing. The presence of the silent watcher greets me with its now familiar light. A fresh breeze blows inside the cavern, making the light dance. It brings with it untainted air, and something else. I turn my gaze to the right when I smell something tantalizing. The perfume is gone as fast as it appeared. Stairs are going up along the cliff. "This leads to the sanctum, Miss Delaney," says Rose as she walks to me. "We need to explore it, make sure we did not miss anything and destroy the research." "Are you sure?" "I mean. Yes, I am sure. I leave the entrance with regret, but I have no choice. The sun will rise in less than 4 hours and I need to prepare for it." We gather, and it is decided that Bingle, Dalton and I will go up while Loth stays with the rest to look after the wounded and protect the group. "Don't worry, lass, I'll take a look later." We set out. Stairs have been dug into the side of the mountain and railings placed at strategic positions. It does not help, I feel like I am a trespasser in a place that should have remained untamed and untouched. We quickly reach a small landing. Nestled between two plains of the mountain is a shack. It is little more than a shelter, and when we enter, I notice that it can barely contain all three of us. A cot and cupboard have been pushed against the farthest wall. Most of the single floor is covered with an alchemy kit and a desk covered in paper. I let the men walk around and quickly find what I knew would be there, a research journal. The tome is hefty, so I mostly glance through. The cult leader's writing is methodical, and more importantly, it is not coded, therefore my reading is quick and unimpeded. I soon learn that Abernathy found the place 3 years ago thanks to hints from a Creek guide. He immediately found something which he refers to as the temple, further up, and studied the inscriptions left behind. Apparently, some of them contained European-style alchemical annotations on the art of blood magic. He gathered several rogue mages and followers and moved in. A bit over a year ago someone broke through the temple and destroyed the lab and many of the notes. That is when Abernathy ramped up his activities and started kidnapping people for blood experiments. At the same time, he acquired something he refers to as the Source. He believed he could produce an elixir of eternal life without the drawbacks of sun sensitivity and bloodlust. The attack on the lab was taken as an attempt to stop him from reaching enlightenment. We have to go up. Dalton and Bingle join me with little to show for their efforts. I wordlessly hand the adventurer a single sheet I took from experiment note. Subject, Flora Schaefer, female. His voice dies down as he keeps on reading. I already suspected she would be dead, of course. This only confirms it. My vassal and I wait in respectful silence until he is done. The grief on his face is palpable. "Forgive me, I need a moment." We step outside, close the gate behind us and wait. I am a bit shaken as I realize that this is the first time I have witnessed a fearless adventurer with such a hopeless expression on his face. "I wanted to ask you something, mistress," says Dalton. "Yes. What are you exactly?" I turn to him dumbfounded. "You decided to serve me, yet you do not know what I am." "I knew enough to decide, now I want to know everything." I spend a few minutes telling him about my strengths but also my weakness to fire, silver, and the sun. It only occurs to me when I am done that I did not even contemplate him betraying me. My instincts tell me that he will not. We have bonded now. His loyalty is as certain as the dawn. It doesn't take long for Bingle to join us. Forgive me for this delay. I was. I place a comforting hand on his arm and address him with a soothing voice. There is nothing to apologize for, sir, and I can only extend my condolences to you. I know it is poor comfort in the face of such pain, yet I must remind you that without our timely intervention, those unfortunate souls behind us would have suffered a fate most cruel. Bingle seems surprised by my touch, his honest face brims with emotion. Yes, you are correct. Thank you so much, Miss Delaney. We have done well tonight, and though salvation was beyond my grasp, we made sure that vengeance was not. A worthy end, I say. Indeed. Now, that loathsome man's notes mention a temple above, and I would like to see it with my own eyes and make sure there is nothing afoot. Of course, Miss Delaney. Your tenacity and rigor are an inspiration. No stone shall remain unturned until we ascertain that evil has been vanquished. Right. Then I shall lead the way, forward. Wait, what is wrong with me? Why did I just say that? Impossible. Is the man contagious? I certainly hope not. I would not want to turn righteous. My hearing has recovered enough to hear Dalton's amused chuckle. I may never live this down. We walk for 10 minutes at a measured pace along the mountain and up a natural ridge. Eventually, the path turns right to end on a small plateau. Hidden from the worst of the wind, pine trees and knee-high bushes have prospered and spread around the place, turning it into a shelter. I notice regular formations that look too perfect to be the work of nature. Rather, someone grew a garden here and left it for at least a decade. Further up, the valley disappears between two cliffs. This feels awfully familiar. Oh. I remember now. Not where, but when, said Neshoba in that dream months ago. I found it. The place from the dream. Just as I remember it, the blocky architecture clings to the rock as if it had been dug in. Two lion statues stand guard on each side of the main entrance, a little worse for wear. I hear nothing suspicious. Let me in first, Miss Delaney. We enter the so-called temple and look around. The men take out lanterns and light the insides. Abernathy has mentioned that the place had been ransacked. That is not correct. The single room has been devastated by an impact of incredible power. Everything that stands near the door, such as a stone bed and fire pit, remains intact. Further up, debris litter the floor and the opposite wall has been shattered completely. On the side, I recognize a bare alchemy station under a pile of rocks curiously arranged. I walk closer. Somebody gathered stones with inscription. I recognize the tongue. Dalton, I need your lantern. It is, of course, a lie for the benefit of Bingle. I read a few runes despite the poor state. Unfortunately, there is not enough to infer a meaning, unless. I walk to the shattered wall, dodging the errant stone. Something smells delicious. I know a very similar scent, from long ago. It's on the tip of my tongue. I approach the impact. Either someone brought a small cannon or. I place my fist against the central hole and push in. I touch smashed rock when I am elbow deep. I take a look inside. The point of origin has a single black spot. Could it be? I shove hand back in and after fumbling for a few seconds I manage to touch something. When I pull back, my index has the slightest hint of a tar-like substance. I rub my fingers and sample the scent. A wave of emotion overcomes me. There is no vitality left, yet this fragrance is unmistakable. Stunned, I stand back and realize the crater is surrounded by other runes. I pull two and two together. What are those, Miss Delaney? A poem in the tongue of Akkad. It says, little bird flew low and high, to the rock and to the sky. Little bird flew far and wide, yet always one step behind. I do not understand. This is a taunt. My master came here a year ago. He did not find what he was looking for. Someone took it and hid it from him. This is why he came to this remote place. This is also how he found me. As to what his target was, I have no idea. If we find a container of some sort, we might get a clue. I decide to keep looking. I am particularly interested in where that precious smell comes from. I turn left and walk to the wall. A particularly well-preserved stone cabinet has escaped the devastation. That is rather suspicious. Help me move this, I think there might be something there. Both men rush past me, intent on making sure I do not need to work. Alright, so there are some benefits to being of the fairer sex. I would still rather be allowed to go bounty hunting. With little effort, Dalton and Bingle push the piece of furniture out of the way. Light shines into a small bathroom, sparsely equipped with a stone tube and a storage shelf. More interesting is the prostrate figure on the ground. This is where the tantalizing scent comes from. I can't help myself. I walk past my companions and ignore their warnings. I fall on my knees before the humanoid thing and lift its chin. Two amber eyes open and blink at me. They are too large to belong on a human face. The thing's traits have a strange alienness to them, different yet alluring. I think it is male, a he then. I lean closer. He smells so scrumptious, so incredibly delicate. This bouquet, this vitality. I open my mouth and 8 fangs manifest. The man cries a single tear as he shows an acceptance born out of the deepest pits of despair. He knows what I am, he knows what I will do, and he has already given up. Good, now I just need to. Miss Delaney. I close my mouth with a click. If I do this now, I will have to kill Bingle. I do not believe I can hypnotize him into forgetting someone's death. I don't want to kill Bingle. No. I do not want my instincts to get in the way of my long-term plans. So I slowly force myself away from the most potent, delicious blood I have. Wait, that's it. This entity provided the blood that saved my life the night of my escape. Or not. His smell is slightly different, spicier and more mature. I fed on his kind, however. Miss. I finally force myself to turn. He's alive. We need to free him. I compel myself to take a step back from that enticing, delicious smell. Bingle passes me by and kneels. I notice that he still has the keys he used to free the other prisoners, fortunately, and that they fit. Hold on, he will notice that something is wrong. I turn in a panic, only to see a perfectly normal, if unhealthy man where I left the strange creature. A quick study shows a sort of shimmer around his eyes and ears. Can you talk, lad? Why, yes. Are you hurt anywhere? No, just sore, thirsty, and hungry. But not dirty. How could somebody dirty have such an incredible perfume? Don't worry, lad. Your troubles are at an end. We shall take good care of you. You have the word of Cecil Rutherford Bingle. Yes, it's good care. Mistress, you are drooling. Whispers Dalton. Do you need more blood? Thank you, I'll be fine. What is wrong with me? Besides the recently skewered heart, nothing. I do not even feel the thirst. This creature just has a blood that I apparently cannot resist. I will not bite. I will not bite. Maybe just a little. No. I will not bite. Calm down, Ari, this is not like you. Just take a deep breath. Alright, this was a terrible idea. How can this man smell so intoxicating? Gah! Are you alright, Miss Delaney? I look away so he doesn't see the fangs. I apologize, it is just, I am sorry, I need some fresh air. I stumble out until I reach outside. Up here, a cold wind blows down the flanks of the mountain and carries on it hints of pine. I start feeling better, or at least, more in control. Only a short while later, the three men exit the structure. In the open, the temptation is not so strong. Bingle looks at me with empathy and leads the way down. I follow him while Dalton supports the strange creature. I do not dare get closer. Actually, Bingle has his back to me, so I suppose I could indulge. No. No. Oh, that is it. Get a hold of yourself, Ariane. This is unsightly. I am no slave to my impulses. As I slap my cheek, the softest breeze caresses my ears as something whispers to me. Why did you spare me, Nightwalker? Wow. Mistress? Miss Delaney? Sorry. Sorry everyone, I just missed a step. Dalton is dubious and Bingle full of concern. Miss Delaney, I apologize. I should have remembered your ordeal. Foolish me. You, HRM, if it is not too impertinent of me to offer, you may take my arm. I shall lead you to safety. Yes, let me be downwind before I do something we shall all regret. If it is not too much trouble. I approach and grab his muscular arm. This is not entirely unpleasant. The man himself radiates with pride. It seems that my trust means a lot to him. Perhaps I should not offer my back to this creature though. It made it clear it knows what I am. Is this a cruel trap, Nightwalker? Whispers the wind once more. My name is Ariane, I grumble back, too low to be heard by the humans. Very well, since you have given me the gift of courtesy, I shall reciprocate. I am Sinead. We continue our conversation in the same manner. What are you? You truly do not know? I wouldn't ask otherwise. I softly hiss. Your kind calls us trespassers or errant ones. We are from far away. How far is far away? India. Nippon. We are from another dimension. Ah, really? How did you even come here? The wind sighs with annoyance. My kind likes to play games. Sometimes we slip and fall into other worlds. This would not be an issue if your plane was not so heavy. Ha! Your reality is rigid. We cannot get through it. It resists us too much. We cannot get back, and so we are lost, trespassers and prey. Prey. You must be young. Your kind captures us and harvests our immortal blood. It is kept in secure containers to be drunk as an emergency. We are slaves and cattle to you lot. Barely better than animals. He adds with resentment. I now understand. 6 months ago, I should have died from the wounds I suffered at the hand of Jimena. Only a miracle could have saved me, and this miracle was the blood of his species. I do not understand. I thought that blood must be consumed on the spot. We are immortal. We do not age, and so our blood can keep its vitality indefinitely if harvested properly. I never knew. Curious, I would expect clans to inform their members of our existence so that you know not to devour us instantly should you happen upon our kind. It would be too merciful of fate, I suppose. Our essence remains bound to the blood, so only a limited amount of elixirs can be harvested from the same captive, who then needs to be kept alive. My people has been reduced to kept assets and fugitives like me. If what he says is true, and I believe him, then Jimena gave up on an incredible treasure to help me. What I used to run home could have been employed in combat to save her life instead. My gratitude towards her only ever grows. Why did she not mention it? Well, I am not surprised that my friend would try to hide the extent of her sacrifice, and yet there could be something else. Vampires may attempt to hush the existence of such a powerful secret weapon. I will have to be discreet. I know not what you have planned, says Sinead, and so I am left at the mercy of a creature of the night. He goes on like that for a while and I learn a few interesting things. His species is called the Lycians and they are powerful magic users. On their home plane, they can manipulate the very essence of reality the way a great painter manipulates colors. Down here, they are limited to a few tricks and illusions. I also learn that Sinead is by default the leader of his kind, the most powerful Lycian here, and that he has a second of sort. Finally I learn that Sinead is an absolute drama queen. Honestly, I am impressed. Grand declamations, laments and inflamed discourses pour ceaselessly from his lips. Some of it even rhymes. He goes on and on without pause, cursing this plane and its inhabitants, his fate, the moon and the stars, the neighbor's dog. Everyone. The worst thing for me is that he never even tried to escape. We are on a dark path outside, at night, he is not bound, and we are clearly exhausted and wounded and still, there is not a single attempt to even steal a knife. If it were me, I would have at least tried something. Wait, could he have played me all that time? I turn in a panic but no, he is still hanging from Dalton's shoulder, looking in the distance like an opera main lead. I can still smell him when the wind gives us a respite. I believe that if his race is half as dramatic as he is, it is no wonder that they have been exploited by vampires. We all have one thing in common, ruthlessness. I continue musing while we walk down the path at a slow pace. With Bingle guiding me, I can stop focusing on my surroundings and Sinead's constant whining. He is clearly the source mentioned in Abernathy's workshop notes. If I understand properly, the cult leader has been using his blood as an attempt to reach eternal life. Perhaps this is why it felt so wrong. Lycian blood is precious. It is not to be squandered by a fumbling idiot with no talent or experience. A few scratched symbols are not enough to reach the apex of mastery required to brew an elixir of eternity. I remember the woman in my vision, when I drunk from Master and was made a vampire. She was writing something on tanned human skin. It was an intricate formula, a work of art far beyond anything I have seen since, not even in Loth's workshop. This man could not have achieved his goal within 3 lifetimes. He only made an impure mix with fleeting effects, at the cost of one's free will. How naive of him to even assume that our mewling rescue could be a strong enough source of power. He is weak and pathetic here. He would not have sufficed, no. It would take something incredible to change a human at such a fundamental level. It would take a god. Truly, this entire project was doomed from the start. I take comfort in the knowledge that at the very least, we cleaned our own backyard. Oh, and we rescued some humans and that weird alien being. I suppose this counts as a success. So tell me, child of darkness, tell me why do you play with me so? What sinister fate awaits me, now that my freedom? Sinead's ranting has progressed enough that he requires attention. Good. I have not decided yet. Pardon? I said, I have not made a choice. Now please leave me be, I tire of this conversation. I do not have the inclination to handle this man today. I am not thirsty, I am exhausted and his survival depends on a tangle of commitments and rules I do not feel like considering before a good rest. We soon reach the cave again. I go to Loth, still busy with the wounded. It seems that a few of them will not make it. Dalton? Yes, mistress. Please look after me, I need to rest my eyes for a moment. Very well, mistress. Yes, there is still much to be done. I just need a moment. I open my eyes to the familiar darkness. I am still wearing the ruin of the maid outfit and the congealed blood sticks to my skin in a most unpleasant way. The smell is not much better. Outside I can hear 2 heartbeats. I slide the sarcophagus open to the canopy of Loth's large tent. Just like 6 months ago, it is basked in soothing blue light. Good evening. Good evening, lass, quick, take this. He hands me a silver chalice with a cover. The hint of fresh blood immediately wakes the thirst. I take off the top and drink. It tastes so much sweeter than my usual fare. It is, without a doubt, human, with a hint of something special. A strange power fleets through its exquisite vitality, taunting and tricksy, but not malicious. It is the best human blood I have ever sampled since the first. Bingle? Yes, he volunteered. He said he wanted to contribute to the potion that will alleviate the curse. It seems that it mattered to him quite a bit, says Loth, as he finishes draining his blood in a second chalice. Loth. Ye were hurt by my fault, so I will give ye my blood in good faith tonight. Take it as a day off. A night off. Whatever. I stand up and take stock while he finishes. I am healed, yet still weak. It would be best if I do not have to fight anyone tonight. I believe I will take you up on that offer. Thank you, Loth. I drink the second chalice, a full cup of steel, mountain, and power. Although nowhere close to yesterday's blood, it is still extremely potent. Thank you, Loth. That was delicious. Naturally. Now, lass, we need to address your first follower. My vassal, Dalton. The boy and I came to an agreement. I need someone to clean around the garden, run some errands and spot me when I calibrate rifles. He'll do. I also expect him to make your hunting easier. Smooth things out, as it were. I turn to Dalton. It's a very good offer, mistress. I could never hope for such a good position anywhere else. Good, so it's settled then. All that's left is that you, seal the deal, so to speak. What? By drinking his blood. Of course. Yes, naturally. Loth gives me a knowing smile and leaves the tent. So, says Dalton. Why does he have to make it so awkward? It's just part of the deal. We just have to be intimate even though we met a week ago. Is this how arranged marriage feels like? Bah, I don't want to think about this any longer. I approach Dalton, who obediently tilts his head and embrace him. He smells like soap, sunshine, and liquor. Not a bad mix. His pulse quickens. I lick the jugular and he swallows. The movement is so enticing. Slowly, I bite. Yes. So good. It reminds me of that time with ain'ts of the same arousal. Oh no. Let me lick this close with all haste and let him go. God, young men are so enthusiastic. Gah, this is embarrassing, but kind of fun. How I wish Jimena liked men. Then we could talk together and she could tell me more. We could even have many vassals. Bring them together and have them walk around with nothing on their butts. We could stare at their butts. Even touch them. Tee-hee-hee. Mistress? Nothing. Now, I really need to take a bath. Is there water? There is a river a few hundred yards away. I could draw enough for a bath and warm it for you. Silly vassal. That would take ages. Let me just go there. I don't need warm water. Cold water will help me wake up. It forges the character. I step outside and immediately come across Loth, waiting for something. Ariane. I'm going to take a bath. We do have other things to discuss. After the bath. Now, where is the river? You want to bath in the river? Of course not. Do you take me for a savage? Wait, oh, of course, thank you, Loth. Silly me, to go out like that. I come back inside and pile my favorite jasmine soap of all time and clean clothes in the copper tub, then drag it outside. Alright, I'm gone. Ari. Yes. The river is the other way. Oh, thanks, see you later, Loth. I manage to drag the tub with me through the undergrowth and only fall twice and impact a single tree. I don't know who planted that pine like that in the middle of the way, it's so stupid. If I catch the rogue. Ugh. The river is quite shallow and I only have to drag the tub to the edge, realize my stuff is still in it, take my stuff out, fill it with water and settle it in a nice secluded grove and tada. It's done. I jump in and start peeling the ruined uniform and flaking red stuff. But it is so good to be there. I can enjoy the light of the moon, the water, bubbly soap and the caress of the wind on my skin. Stars illuminate the sky while the relaxing light of the silent watcher stands as proof to its eternal vigil. The riot of colors and sounds form together a chaotic symphony both complex and so very alive. The night is beautiful, and it is mine. I savor the moment and think back on yesterday. Loth is right, we have much to discuss. I will have to tell him about the vision. He is my friend and needs to know what I saw. And what an experience it was. The slow and steady moves, the feeling of a warm body against my own, the moans of pleasure. This is so much more than I expected. It was amazing. I stop and realize I am no longer applying soap. My left hand is cupping my breast and the other rests at the edge of my pubis. I lower myself in the tub and raise my hips. Yes, Agna had raised hers, just so. They had rolled with a hypnotic motion. I lower my right hand until it parts the blonde hair, and then I stop again. I let it lie there, quiescent. I always thought I knew all there is to know about sex. I saw animals go at it, so I had a general idea about the process. I learned from the people around me that married couples do it to have children. I was told that men want it all the time and women give it. I understood that it could be painful or somewhat pleasant for us. Hussies are those who let many men have what they want from them and use it for their own benefits. This is what I was led to believe. It is also a lie. Yesterday, Loth showed me what could be. He showed me that sex could be a source of incredible bliss for both partners, a felicity that transcends the physical into the quasi-mystic. When Agna climaxed, the sensation was so strong that she looked like she was dying. They shared this together. It was intense and beautiful. It was sacred. I remember what Master did. It does not have to be that way. I do not have to surrender this to him, not to anyone. It can be mine. I could even share it with someone else, one day. Maybe. I lower my hand. My sex is flushed and wet, not with water but something much softer. It makes my fingers drift smoothly over my folds and that little nub of flesh that aia. My body spasms once around my core in a wave that expands throughout my entire body. I arc my back away from the water. More. I move 2 fingers in slow and large circular motions. I take my time and enjoy the feeling building inside of me. My finger brushes the little nub, again and again, slow and steady. I remember yesterday, Loth's lips on her nipple. I use my other hand to touch and tease my own until the pink tips become hard and sensitive. I move progressively faster. I moan loudly and I don't care. After a while, I stop once more. I want to try things. I move my fingers horizontally or vertically, with more or less pressure. Sometimes my movements are slow, sometimes a little bit faster. I remember when Agna impaled herself on Loth. The look on her face. I move my hand lower and slide a finger in. So wet. Yes, she was moving just so, pushing him in. I move my hips as well and do not forget the little nub. I find a rhythm I like, slow but purposeful, and I lose myself in it. Time abandons its meaning, there are only the sensual dance and the pleasure that scours me. Eventually, the urge to reach something becomes too great. I play the nub again, faster, with a bit more strength. Something warm builds up inside. I want to know. I want to feel. I keep going on and on until I'm on the verge of something great. I keep going, almost there. And then I climax. Oh. My. God. Oh ho ho ho, yes. For 10 seconds my mind blanks as successive waves of ecstasy ravage body and mind. My body shivers and quakes around its center. So good. I splash back into the tub and just stay there for a moment, unable to move. I haven't recovered when an aftershock sends me into another shake that makes me curl my toes. Wow! This is great. Better than great. For a while there, I could think of nothing. Why did I not hear of this earlier? Who keeps this secret? I swear that half of human conflicts would be solved on the spot if people experienced this daily. Hiding this is a disgrace, a vile conspiracy. So this is why vampires are rumored to enjoy lovemaking. It is a bloodless, victimless alternative to our usual fare, and without risks of disease and unknown pregnancy to boot. This explains so much. I should try to get another one, for science's purposes. It is only true if it is repeatable, is it not? 30 minutes later I finish dressing and start walking back to the camp, with a towel around my hair and the tub in tow. Well, this was enlightening and relaxing. Much of the tension of these past few days has been lifted from my shoulders. That said, perhaps I should not share my newfound knowledge with the men. I do believe it does not concern them. Yes, this seems wiser. I wouldn't want them to get jealous. The poor things. Rather soon I find my way back to the carriage. I only fall once, and someone else planted another damned pine in the middle of the way. Who would even do such a thing? 3 people wait in the small clearing, although I can see other campfires around and hear noises in the distance. I wave at them and promptly fall on my face. Bah, the ground of the forest is so uneven. Unbelievable. What's wrong with her? I hear someone whisper. She's drunk off her arse, replies my friend. Loath of scorag. Je ne vous permets pas. In English, my dear. Then let it be known that I find your groundless accusations scandalous. My apologies, now we need to reach an agreement with the latest addition to our merry band. Who? Me. Replies the newcomer, red with anger. I get closer. This is a person of the male persuasion. Yes. Ariane, of the astute observations. It does not help me tremendously though. I turn to Dalton, who taps his nose. Wait, is something wrong with the smell? Delicious. What a wonderful fragrance. I remember now. I scrunch my face with effort. The others seem at a loss. Oh, just you wait. Sinoad. It's Sinead. Sinead, you disrespectful wench. Dalton and Loth take a collective step back from the newcomer. I beg your pardon. I say as I smile. Surely I misheard. I have been nothing but patient and respectful since we met. Do you have an issue with how you've been treated so far? Looking left and right, the Lycian realizes that the others are unwilling to help him with his current predicament. I believe I spoke too hastily. It's all right, Senarad, it was wrong of me to mispronounce your name. I will endeavor not to do so again. Sinead glowers but says nothing. What a prickly fellow. I believe we were going to discuss his fate. Oh yes. Enough distractions. So, what should we do? I want to feed on him at some point. Well. I was hoping that you would not. I tap my index against my chin. Well. It does sound like a sensible request. He is no danger to me and I feel quite full. But he is both magical and delicious, what to do? Unless you name him as your friend, I can drink from him but not kill him. We rescued that man, I believe that there is a debt. Besides, I would be stupid not to get some power from him. I can get much. That's the thing, lass, I had a talk with Sinead and I believe that should you bite, you will drain him dry and we will not be able to pry you away. Is that so? Yes, says the man himself, I arrived in this land 20 years ago to look for my lost brethren. Alas, I failed to hide my nature at first and rumors of my happening drew the hated nightwalkers of Clan Roland to me. I was powerless before their strength, and they abducted me, dragged me to a hideout deep in the forests of Ardennes. There, I met others of my kind. I learned that we are mercilessly hunted and that our blood drives you mad the moment you taste it. A feeding is almost always fatal, therefore the red liquid is carefully harvested and used in potions that grant limitless power for a night. A vampire under the effect of our blood is nigh unstoppable. As I mentioned, we need to be kept alive for this to happen and our essence will not regenerate while the potion remains intact. Each captive thus yields a limited, but precious resource. We are under heavy guard, constantly. Fortunately, I managed to fool the humans at dawn by using a mighty illusion. My deception was not detected until far too late. To my deep regret, I was unable to free the others and had to escape alone. Sinead's expression is one of utter guilt. He left his people behind. Well, I am in no position to judge. I stowed on a ship headed for the New World, thinking it would be a haven where I could plan a daring rescue. I was mistaken. Human mages successfully detected my presence and abducted me. I was soon sold to the man your party slew yesterday. The rest, you know. The Lycian licks his lips nervously. While I was in the custody of this clan, I learned much and I would be willing to tell you, in exchange for safe passage. Then are you a supplicant? Mustamik? Ah, a supplicant. Yes. Then kneel. The man turns red with fury. I do not understand the rage I see in him now. Supplicants kneel. It is the way of things. It is what should be. We stand and listen, the supplicants speak and kneel, and if an agreement is reached, we grant a favor. Why the hatred? Ari. I turn to Loth with a raised eyebrow. His kind is enslaved by your kind. He is their leader by default. Kneeling to you is, a humiliation. How does that concern the matter at hand? Is he not the supplicant? Do I not listen? I see, in this case, I would ask that you forgive the lack of decorum as a favor to me. Just this once. I don't know. I find the very proposal distasteful. If proper forms are not respected, then what does that mean for the proceedings? Are we honorless beasts, to discard traditions so easily? Is your skin so thin that you need the worship, vampire? Asks Sinead, irate. The haze I was in until now drops like water to be replaced by cold instinct and the death of empathy. I move. I move faster than ever before despite my weakened state. My hand closes around his neck. Gah. Ari. Please wait. Perhaps forms are important to us for another reason. Perhaps we need it to balance our humanity and that part of us that calls you food. Ari, please. Please. I drop my victim and turn around before I take a toe or two. And his tongue as well. Safe passage in exchange for information was it? Why? Yes. Loth is fraught with worry. The alien. Insulted the protocol. That puts him dangerously close to the Oathbreaker category as far as I am concerned. I would drink him dry, but he clearly made a deal with Loth and it means I cannot drink from him. Confusing. Perhaps I should just kill him and be done with it. No, I cannot do this to Loth. Not after what happened last night. I want this and blood. Your objections make little sense to me. You admitted that a potion can be drawn from his blood and that means there is a safe way to harvest it. I am not letting him go without a taste. You will find a way to provide it safely or I will take my chances. Ari. No. I bled and almost died for this, and refrained from feeding until we could reach a proper agreement. I have been more than reasonable. Blood, to be consumed on the spot, is to be part of this. I do not know how to properly harvest blood. The task was done by human alchemists in the employ of the Roland. Then Loth can help you draw it and preserve it in the chalice until I wake. If you are not around when I consume it, it should be safe. Everyone is silent. I will not back down on this. The blood will be mine one way or the other. Very well, Nightwalker. This is humiliating, but you leave me with little choice. I agree to your terms. Blood and information in exchange for safe passage. The annoying man leaves with a huff. I track his movement, then return my attention to Loth. We need to talk. He points to the tent and we get in. I stand up and pace while he sits priestly on the only cot. I don't know how to start. How do you admit something this big to a friend? Why are you trying to save Sinead anyway? You're not exactly a bleeding heart. Oh. Ye think me too generous in rescuing my fellow supernatural beings? Should I have been harsher? He asks pointedly. I stop in my tracks. I'm sorry, Loth, I guess I deserved that one. To my surprise, he chuckles. Eerie, forgiven, but please say what you want to say. How should I put it? I explain how I saw visions and describe the first one, the battlefield. I remember well. 'Twas my first real battle, it was. That's where my old Uncle Strum got the nickname of Ball Crusher after he accidentally fell on an anvil. I ignore the juicy anecdote and tell him about the banquet. I describe the gray-bearded man in great detail. My father. Yes. He was so proud. Was there also a blonde woman? Yes. She, kept reaching for Loth. All right. Ye win. Next. I hesitate and lick my lips. I do owe him the truth. I don't want to hide this. Those memories belong to him. You saw Agna for the first time. She threw manure at Skeggy's face. Loth studies me. How did you know it was Skeggy? I felt what you felt, learned what you thought. You were not thinking of that Gerda woman in the short interval I perceived. I see. He deliberately marks a pause. He knows what follows is the reason I feel embarrassed. I was you when you made love to Agna. The revelation is received a stunned silence. It takes a long time before Loth speaks again, long enough for the campfire outside to weaken. Long enough for Dalton to fall asleep in the tent next to mine. I don't exactly remember her face. I tried to engrave it, but it never looked quite right. Metal is a poor medium to create the portrait of a loved one, I find. I never managed to form what I wanted. It always felt dead, a farcical attempt at capturing that which cannot be held. Like sand flowing between my fingers, you know. Loth barely raises his head and looks at me. There is something there that I saw in Master, but also in more and even to an extent, Jimena. Agelessness. Before me stands an ancient being whose life has extended longer than some dynasties lasted. I destroyed every last one of them, and now I regret it. Memories grow hazy after a few centuries. Even a shadow of what she was would have helped me remember. So the mind lost its grip, but the blood remembers. Loth sighs deeply. I give him some time as I realize that if he wanted an input he would ask for it. Entities of his age probably cherish moments of strong emotion as proof that they still live. What else? Loth doesn't comment when I tell him about the rest. His only reaction is a bitter smile at the mention of his brother and wife's betrayal. And that is all. I see. Well. Thank ye for sharing, I appreciate that. It was bittersweet to say the least. I hesitate for a while before asking the question that has been nagging me for a few minutes now. Loth is always straightforward. If he thinks it inappropriate, he will let me know. Just ask your question, lass. How did you know? When you are thinking too hard you forget to breathe. Humans may not notice, but I do. No, this is a good way to get caught. Ha ha ha, give it some time, and stop stalling. Fine. Why did you never return? Loth freezes like a cat caught with its paw in the bowl of cream. I'm scared of boats. Long travel distance between here and home, you know. Loth. Also, many projects here, can't decently just stop everything. Loth. I'm scared. There, ye got it. I did not leave on good terms and I was an important warrior for my family. Many bad things could have happened. How about a letter? Damn good idea, lass. I'll just address it to a clan of long-lived dwarves in the Kebnekaise mountain range somewhere in Sweden. The postman could sure use a good laugh. I do not reply, instead, I reflect in silence. This does not sound like the Loth I have come to know, and yet do I really understand him? I have never seen him face something he could not immediately handle. I have never known true love either. My friend lost his soul mate and could not overcome his grief, not even in a century. Is he constantly escaping reality? Should I say something? Don't be too disappointed in this old man, lass. The truth is that I care about my clan back home, and I miss them a lot. That doesn't change the fact that I was used by them, manipulated and then betrayed by those who believed they could do better. I have given much, and should I return, I will be asked to give even more. I still say nothing. Loth made a few very good points and it does not matter. He is not doing anything because he is scared, that is the crux of the matter. I want to point it out. I also want to respect the boundaries he is currently setting. Damn it, lass, you are doing that vampire thing again. Fine, fine. I admit that I am still running away. I won't visit them, but perhaps a letter will do. For starter. How is being silent so efficient? Is it because I do not breathe nor move? It would bring you closure, my friend, if only that. Right. Yeah. I was considering it, you know. Men are so good at self-deception, it is almost unreal. Well, time to change the topic. I shall verify later that he is indeed working on a proper means of correspondence. I want to ask, what happened after I fell into torpor? We rested for an hour, then moved everyone down. Bingle and I got rid of the handful of guards remaining. When we got outside there was a purge. The prisoners and freed servants picked 7 among them and slaughtered them in the street. It was sudden and extremely violent. Bingle's voice was drowned by the vengeful mob. It was not pretty. After that, we all crashed down. In the morning, we gathered in a council to decide what to do. Bingle managed to steer the discussion effectively and it only took an hour to finish. Some decided to stay and take care of the cattle and fields. Those that left were allowed to take valuables and sundries to start over somewhere else. They are with us now. I'd estimate around 15 people. Rose is here as well. She and Bingle have grown quite close. Rose is both grounded and painfully honest. They could be a good match. I want to ask about our plans, but I can see that Loth is tired. Even though I just woke up, I feel exhausted as well, so we both decide to call it a night. I wake up to the sound of animated discussion. I quickly don one of my armor dresses in dark blue and wonder if I should pick up my pistol. So far, I can only hear irate voices and the appearance of someone armed might do more damage than good. Let us try diplomacy first. I step out of the tent and realize that we are at the edge of a native city of respectable size. An earthen pyramid dominates the vista in front of me, surrounded by wooden buildings that form a circle around it. Well-tended farms dot the valley as far as I can see, and a few campfires give the place a festive feeling. Our campfire is not festive at all. Most of the escapees that elected to join us are in a circle of wagons to my left. The men stand around like sentinels and there is not a woman in sight. The voices come from a gathering a few paces away. Torches provide a reddish light to what I hope is just a heated negotiation. On one side stands a frowning Bingle, an old man who I know has weight with the people we freed, and Loth. Only the Dverger seems somewhat relaxed. I can feel Dalton from somewhere inside the circle. On the other side is a most curious motley crew. The largest group is composed of men and women in light and colorful clothes. There are bells and jewelry in their hair, and pieces of mirrors hang from oversized necklaces. I notice at least one European, and a few of the younger people are obvious mixed bloods. They are led by two siblings, a large man with a mustache and a red bandana and a shrewd-looking woman. I think the man's mustache may even rival Bingle's. Is it why they are trying to stare each other down? I always thought there would be a brotherhood of the great mustaches, yet it appears that they are competing for supremacy. Perhaps they need to establish a hierarchy first. Men are strange creatures. My attempts at joining my allies discreetly are thwarted when the second part of the native group turns to me. They are dressed in more conservative undyed leather clothes. Neshoba limps from the group and greets me with a radiant smile, which I return. The argument dies down and all attention turn to me. Ah, this is uncomfortable. Greetings, child of thorn and hunger. Greetings, Neshoba. What is this about? The circle expands to include me. After Neshoba's voice dies down, I get varied reactions from the colorful group. Many are wary while a few look at me with doubt in their eyes. The European openly scoffs, which does not bother me much. I would rather he believed pale ones to be a myth from the mind of gullible savages. The Muskogee of the Fox clan take exception to you crossing their land without license. The white men have been encroaching on them as of late. Tensions are running high, though the death of the defiler has bought you much goodwill. And what are you doing here? You are not one of their own. I came here to make sure those negotiations succeed. That alligator you killed is not the only thing hunting us, and your help is required again. Before we begin, I am not slaughtering entire villages of white folks for you, if that is what you were referring to. Indeed not, child of thorn, for this path would save no one. Ah, but our companions are losing patience, so let us listen to their whining and posturing for a while. He adds with a smirk. I did not remember him being so assertive. It appears that the past 6 months have been good to him. It is the male Muskogee envoy who resumes the hostilities. He spews what I assume are scathing remarks to the rest of his band and wildly gestures at Neshoba and myself. I do not understand his language at all, and apparently neither does the shaman. One of the Choctaw is growing increasingly red though, and I assume he is the interpreter. I notice that one of the women who picked Neshoba after I exacted my payment is here as well, although she is currently staring at the ground with rare intensity. Loth was correct. I did leave a lasting impression. The harangue lasts until his sister grabs his sleeve. 2 newcomers are walking towards us from the village at a brisk pace. I immediately recognize one of them to be the shy captive I freed from the Valiant's camps. Not so shy anymore. At the sight of me she frowns before turning to the assembly. Her speech is short and to the point. The woman envoy asks her a few questions which she answers curtly. A wind of fear and surprise washes over the crowd with one single exception: the white man is apparently unimpressed and grows increasingly angrier. The male leader starts asking something, but the short woman cuts him off with an obvious rebuke and leaves without looking back. Her companion, an older lady, struggles to catch up. I suppose my identity has been verified. The Muskogee group is filled with whispers and comments, which I suppose is good. However, the white man in native clothes is moving forward and is about to be annoying. I look at Loth and he instantly grabs Bingle's and the old man's attention. My Dverger friend is a rare treasure, to understand me so readily. The nuisance and I cross eyes. I focus on him. Hypnotizing people has always been difficult. Besides feeding, attempting to influence someone is always a hit or miss. This time, however, I can feel a tug. While not exactly subtle, I manage to push what I want to convey through the temporary bindings that connect us. Stop. Look. Feel. Understand. Cower. The world fades around me as the man stops in his track. I watch as his confused frown turns to bleak realization, then to stark terror. He takes an involuntary step back. The connection phrase and I break eye contact just as the rest of his group reaches a consensus. They do not address the European group. Instead, the shrewd woman and Neshoba exchange a few words before retreating in the darkness. The entire Muskogee delegation soon follows, including a bewildered stranger. I will need your help for a hunt, 1 week from now. In return, your people may go through unhindered. Those that remain will not be harassed. Do I need to convince you to join? What is it that you want? The world will not die in 1 day, nor will it be redeemed in 1. I plant seeds that save and uproot others that destroy. I hardly qualify as savior. The fallen prince and the others behind you show otherwise. This was not entirely my decision. The shaman smiles sadly. It never is. Will you help me? Must I beg? Yes, yes, I will. In 1 week. Where? I will send you a dream. Well, is that not convenient? Neshoba limps away, immediately followed by the rest of his small group. In short order, we are alone. What just happened? I forgot about Bingle and the old man. How am I going to explain this? 1 hour later, I stand in front of Sinead and Loth on the village's outskirt. I could tell that Bingle was doubtful about the shaman being a fellow archaeologist, but our exchange in a dead language as well as the credit I garnered with him allowed the lie to pass. He even offered to accompany me on my next archaeological expedition, which is how I sold the whole thing. Only the assurance that it would be night-long pottery inspections changed his mind. I am touched, but I would rather clean Melusines' feet than attempt to hunt Neshoba's next target without the full extent of my power. 1 brush with death per year is enough, please and thank you. Still nothing. Well, he does smell enticing, even from far away, but I feel quite fine. How long does it usually take to manifest? Under a minute. I see. Something is notable by its absence, something I have learned to live with for the past year. The thirst. I feel fine. It is still here, just somewhat sated. As if I had a light feeding. Can you tell me how many people there are around us? I close my eyes and focus on heartbeats, the sound of footsteps and movements. 17 people in our camp. There are 3 sentries keeping an eye on us from behind that drying rack. I do not add that there is a couple in the middle of a furious coit in the nearest wagon. Hearing this made me feel uncomfortable, as if I were spying. Yes, that's 20 in total, good guess. Now look at the pyramid and tell me what ye see. I turn at the shape half a mile away. There is a stone door leading inside. It's guarded. Loth's eyes widen in surprise. Well, I'll be. Can you try to move quickly? I do so and finish the movement behind him. As I touch his shoulder, he jumps with a short yelp. Holy cow, Ari, don't ye frighten me like that girl, he says, breathless, my old heart cannot take it, you know. It felt faster than even yesterday. I know what's happening. It's incredible. Ari, Eerie on the path to becoming a courtier. What? What do you mean a courtier? I thought I was still a fledgling for another year. Well, Loth says, eyeing Sinead with suspicion. I assure you, retorts the offended party, I have no interest in sharing information with your enemies. They are mine as well, if you recall. We do not say anything, because we know his comment is worthless. Very well, I swear an oath to secrecy. Right. Ari, your devourer bloodline must be hastening your growth. How many powerful creatures have ye drained since ye awoke? I think for a while. Sinead gasps in horror. How many creatures have you killed, Nightwalker? Well, I fully drained 2 mages, 3 werewolves including 2 with Loth's help and 1 vampire. I got blood offered in goodwill by 1 mage, 1 blessed human, that would be Bingle, 1 powerful vampire courtier and 1 centuries-old dverger. Yeah, that would do it. By the Grove. In 1 year. I have been busy. In any case, you are telling me that 1 year was enough? I assumed that it was fixed, like pregnancy. It is not. Constantine said it took him only a year and a half. You are probably setting some sort of record, though you would need to compare yourself to others of your kind if you want a benchmark. And yes, I am aware that this is impossible. I suspect that it is as fast as it. Specific elements vary from clan to clan and reflect the organization's mindset and priorities. For example, the Hastings require the completion of a complex project while the Roland base it on ability in one's chosen field. I am not familiar with what your sire would ask of you to acknowledge you, and I doubt it would matter. Concretely, a courtier is an adult vampire. The majority of vampires are at this stage, as it takes around a century to reach the next threshold in your development. The only real constant is that contrary to fledglings, courtiers can go 2 days or more between feedings and stay awake for the whole night. Aspiring courtiers typically start by improving their powers, charm, senses and movements. Those are what separates vampires from the rest of the mortals, besides your many weaknesses. Could you elaborate? Yes, replies Sinead scathingly, I was leading to it. You already experienced them. Charm alters the mortal's perception, senses is exactly what it says, and movements is what allows your kind supernatural displays of strength and speed. I can already do all of that. Not to the best of your abilities, I believe. For example, the pyramid's door you inspected earlier has a small statue at the top. Surprised, I checked the earthen mound again and yes, there is something at the top of the white stone door. I try to focus on it, instead, my vision turns blurry and my head starts to hurt. It will come with time and practice, like most things. In any case, you have your work cut out for you. Now, let us continue. Sinead carries on his lesson for a good 2 hours before my brain finally cries for mercy. My precious notebook finds itself filled with valuable information on various clans, major figures and ideologies. Little of that is of use to me now besides 2 critical pieces of information. The first is that there are 3 main political alliances in the community that covers Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. Their members shift to a degree, but not by much. Ezuru is the group of hidden kingdoms, entire cities subverted to an openly vampiric ruling class. They have groups everywhere but mostly in the east and south of the region. Masks are partisans of secret dominion. They have a strong artistic and hedonistic side and a pull on several governments. They are mostly present in the United Kingdom, France, and Italy. Followers of the Path are a diverse bunch dedicated to causes outside of the more political spheres of influence, such as scientific and magic research. It appears that the community in Louisiana represents all 3, which is rather surprising considering that they are currently at war. This is the second piece of news and it surprises me a lot. I expected vampire conflicts to be short, violent and usually one-sided. Instead, much time is spent on preparation for decisive strikes, plots within plots are revealed or unraveled every day and allegiances shift according to inscrutable arrangements. It even appears that they try to avoid fatalities whenever possible. I recognize that when I killed Charlotte, it put me at odds with our usual rules of engagement. Whatever, Melusine is next. That tramp. This concludes my presentation on European vampire politics. I realize that human minds are fragile and feeble things and I see no objection to continuing tomorrow. Yes, that would be for the best. I answer with fraying patience. I need a break anyway. I return to the encampment to find Dalton almost falling asleep on his feet. Mistress? How are you feeling, besides exhaustion of course? My ribs hurt and the road is not helping. I will be fine though. Say, be careful about Sinead. Ah. Dalton rubs his eyes and stares in the distance. Heard of his kind, I did, from my grandmother. I was born further north and my folks are from Ireland. She spoke of one like him, with big eyes, pointy ears and shiny hair that looks too colorful to be from this world. Besides the hair, it sounds like the Lycaean indeed. Perhaps it will grow back. I pause, contemplating. Do I care? I don't want to get close to the man anyway. Thank you, Dalton. Our bargain was already struck, however I shall remember his contempt for mankind. You should sleep. You look exhausted. No sooner have I said those words that the young man falls on his cot. He is out in seconds. I reach our tent and find Loth writing in his own notebook. He closes it when I approach. Yes. I was wondering what we were going to do now that our objective is complete. We are going to the limit of settled lands, a place called Fort Barrington, which we should arrive in tomorrow. We'll report our findings to the authorities and split up with Bingle and the settlers there. Then we head home and prepare for your hunt. Ah, but it is good to head home from a raid, you know. Though I would have preferred more loot. What about the Lycaean? He will accompany us. By the time you return, he will be gone. I'll put him on a ship to South America. Good. Well, that is all. I'm going for a walk. Enjoy. He answers with a predatory smile. I walk outside and away from the others. When I have reached the edge of the valley, I start to run. Finally alone. It feels good. It feels good to let go, to run around with no immediate need to hunt, no need to patrol or come back. Just me and the land. I enjoy the wind on my face, the earth and roots under my feet, and the sounds of the night, alive around me. I move in bursts of speed just because I can. Sometimes, my dress gets snagged or I stumble, but it does not ruin my fun. The dress I wear is sturdy and so is the body it covers. For a good hour, I trot and sprint across the land with no direction. I am alive. My master took my life and future from me and I turned this curse into a new beginning. I survived and endured and reclaimed. Now, I can choose and carve my own path. It will be difficult, but for now, I can let go. Ha 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 ha. I run and run and run. I only return an hour before dawn, mind clear and hair riddled with broken twigs. I look wild, and I care not. What is this place? I ask as I exit the sarcophagus. We are inside the Tillerson plantation house, mistress. The largest and most expensive manor in a 100-mile radius. The furniture was made by a famous Philadelphia artisan and it has no less than 40 windows. Please note the wonderful Corinthian column on the front porch, so lovely. Says Dalton, deadpan. I am grateful that vampires rise fully awake. The Tillerson are very proud of the place, aren't they? Yes, mistress. They explained everything in great detail. Took one bloody hour. And I assume that we reached Fort Barrington safely during the day. Yes, mistress. And we have become their guests because... Why, mistress, how could Cornelius Tillerson let a good act such as this rescue remain unpunished? Of course, he must show the hero of the moment, Sir Cecil Rutherford Bingle, to all of his posh friends. We are invited to the ball. Loth has been unable to leave. Unable and unwilling. We only arrived 2 hours ago, so leaving would have been unreasonable. Not to mention, suspicious. What does suspicion have to do with anything? We do not all have Sir Bingle's winning charisma, mistress. See, the brave man credited us for many things. Except, I'm not exactly hero material and Loth is a bit odd. Not to mention a few widows and spinsters have been sweet on him. Never good to steal the women the first day in a new place, I can tell you. Was hoping you could use your legendary persuasion to smooth things out. And by smoothing things out, he does not mean killing everyone here, this time. Very well, but I want to clean up first. I'll have the servants bring water. The bedroom I am in is small but well furnished. It is too impersonal to be cozy, but I can appreciate the effort. As I finish picking leaves and twigs from my hair, a harried-looking black woman drags a pot of tepid water inside before leaving without a word. I have helped organize enough receptions to know that improvising one is a tiring and thankless ordeal. The thirst takes me as I finish putting on Neshoba's earrings and a mother-of-pearl necklace. The royal blue dress I wear is too practical to be elegant, unfortunately. At least, it is well cut and should serve adequately. I exit the bedroom and find myself in a corridor of respectable size, and I admit to being impressed. The Tillerson mansion is large indeed, and expensively decorated. I would think that more money than sense had been thrown at our surroundings. As the guest, however, I am also grateful for the care and will refrain from commenting. Dalton has been waiting for me faithfully. I notice that he is much more polished than his usual self. He is clean-shaven and his hair is combed back and even waxed. He has become darkly charismatic, the kind of men fathers are afraid of when their daughters come of age. A well-cut suit helped him transition from outlaw to prodigal son. Good. This image is more respectable than the last and should help him in serving me. Offer me your arm. Mistress? You are thirsty? No. Well, yes, but that is not what I meant. Offer me your arm so that we may walk together. Aya. Of course. I grab him and we move towards a set of stairs. I can hear quite a few people making merry below, as well as the scent of alcohol, vitality and sweat. And also. I stop Dalton with a gesture and knock on a nearby door. Excuse me. Hello. It is soon opened by a mortified man in the uniform of a butler. One of his hands is behind his back to hide the proof of his crime, a half-empty bottle of fine scotch. "HRM, may I help you, miss?" When our eyes meet, I hit him with the full power of my hypnosis. With one small push, he tumbles back inside. To my dismay, his bow tie is in the way, so I must feed on his arm. Well. Never mind. When I am finished, I return to Dalton and leave my donor in the haze he was so desperately seeking. It seems that it is impossible to find good help anywhere nowadays. Oh well, that is feeding taken care of for tonight, I suppose. Where is Sinead anyway? Oh, he mentioned something about filthy humans stinking up the air and left for the forest. If we're lucky, a wolf will eat him. Not before I get my due, I hope. I believe, however, that some Na.V daughter will give birth to a child with strange hair 9 months from now. That sounded personal. I am starting to think that someone in his family may have rolled in the hay with the wrong species. I shall leave those thoughts for some other time as we approach our destination. The ballroom is at the back of the property and it seems the party is already in full swing. Groups of revelers have spilled over the main hall and the garden beyond through open French windows. I notice the conservative yet expensive garb of wealthy landowners in light colors, but also more than a few army uniforms in dark blue, quite close to my dress in fact. I wonder if Loth did it on purpose. It would not surprise me, coming from the crafty old bugger. We are stopped at the entrance by a man in a butler outfit who is as puffed up as a singing bird. The self-importance radiating from his scowling features is remarkable. He considers Dalton with obvious distrust. I, however, seem to pass some kind of test. The condition of one's skin in the South is an easy way to determine their position in society. Anyone with a white and healthy skin is hidden during the day and sleeps at night. Thus, they must be rich. The dress and understated jewelry as well as my posture only reinforce this image. In half a second, the gatekeeper has deemed me worthy. Who should I announce, miss? Ariane Delaney. Oh. You are HM. Forgive me. The man is flustered by his breach of decorum. Well, I cannot blame him as I can already hear Loth's roaring laughter. Miss Ariane Delaney. Announces the man to the crowd, to the general indiff. Why is everyone looking at me? Miss Delaney, over here, says Bingle in the center of the room. I bypass several groups of people, smiling and nodding to any guest meeting my eyes. Dalton follows me in like a shadow before merging into the crowd, unnoticed. Soon, I arrive before a group of people who I assume are the instigators of tonight's unexpected celebration. I notice in passing that Rose is absent from Bingle's arm. I hope she is not being snubbed. Miss Delaney, it is so good to see you. Here, let me present to you our most excellent and generous hosts, Cornelius Tillerson. He indicates a jolly fellow with a large grey beard and mustache. His well-cut suit struggles to contain a gut, his nose is already quite red and his glass is empty, not the first one tonight I'd wager. The master of the house is a man who indulges it seems. Lydia Tillerson. His wife is much younger than him. She is also gorgeous and elegant. With her slightly graying hair, she is the very image of a mature beauty. Loth would be pleased. She smells of sex. This is rather interesting because her husband does not. And their daughter Cecily. The last member of the assembly has unfortunately inherited her father's traits, although I have seen worse. What she lacks in beauty, she makes up for in self-confidence, and her calculating eyes hint at a keen intelligence. Since the introductions are done, I curtsy only for Cornelius to shove his hand in my face. I give him my own fully expecting a proper kiss, instead the man pumps it like he expects me to spit crude oil. The heroine of the hour. Bingle here mentioned your courage. A true testament to American women you are, not like those pale flowers the Brits seem to like, ah. Ha. Surely Mr. Bingle is exaggerating. He and my uncle did most of the work. He also said you were modest. He replies with a sly smile. Corny dear, stop hogging the poor woman, you will scare her. Is it true that you deceived a room full of guard and clobbered one of them? Why does he make it sound so uncouth? Well, there were two of them. The other was guarding Dalton. Ha! Ha 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 ha, by God Bingle, you missed one. Thank you my girl, I have not laughed that hard in a long time. Now. Why don't you and Cecily enjoy yourselves with the young people while we crusty old folks reminisce about the past? My friends would never forgive me if I do not give their sons a chance to court you. Now go. Enjoy and be merry, and come back to us when you have made the round. The young woman immediately locks arms with me while Cornelius and Bingle resume their previous discussions under the lady of the house's tolerant gaze. She drags me from group to group and introduces me to more people than I care to remember. I answer a barrage of repetitive questions with all the charm and patience I can muster. Am I engaged? No, but I have prospects. Is it true I manipulated a group of men and used violence on one of them in order to save my uncle and the adventurer? It certainly is. Someone heard that I shot a pistol in someone's face at point-blank range. That last rumor, which I deny in vain, makes me popular among the soldiers and younger people, not so with the more conservative fringe of the room. For some reason, I have a particularly warm reception from the women. I am willing to bet that quite a few of them would find swinging a club at their rivals a therapeutic experience. I am leaving a group of scowling spinsters when I catch a warning sign from the corner of my eyes. Dalton is frantically gesturing in several directions. Ah, it seems that I am being corralled. A few men in uniform are making their way across the crowd. I immediately spot the leader by virtue of his cloth being the shiniest, turn around and stop. What is it? Asks Cecily. Someone could not wait their turn. To her credit, my companion does not inquire more. Instead, she moves closer to me to offer a united front. In moments, a tall officer with a clean-shaven face and piercing brown eyes appears from the edge of a herd of guests. He is wearing a powdered white wig despite the sweltering heat. Whether it is by vanity or love for decorum, I cannot tell. His eyes fall on me with a frown. Yes, I was expecting you. What I was not expecting is for you to smell of sex and of Lydia Tillerson. This is an abuse of his position as guest. It makes me want to kill him. Miss Delaney? Yes. Would you please? And who might you be? The man's face ticks in anger at being interrupted. This is a trick I learned from Papa. People in a position of power are not used to opposition. If they are thwarted, their first reaction will almost always be to threaten. I am Captain Lawns of the United States Army, and you would do well to follow me. Is there an issue, Jonas? Asks my neighbor. You just lost the home advantage, Jonas. Let us see if I can take it for myself. I have some questions for your guest, nothing serious I assure you. Says the officer with a strained smile. Then surely you can ask them here. I suggest loudly. A few people are starting to turn to us, sensing the tension in our respective postures. I could have been surprised that Cecily supports me instead of someone she lives with. I am not. My stay with the Lancaster taught me that people are always eager to employ newcomers as tool in an ongoing conflict. The rigid officer is not on his first offense, it seems, and Cecily is not someone I would offend lightly. Now to see if he stays or retreats. I was very impressed by your uncle's tale, Miss Delaney. There is no need for hostility. I merely wanted to clarify a few points. As a member of law enforcement in those savage lands, it is my duty to shed light on your extraordinary adventure. Cute save, mortal. I notice that you still haven't asked a question. Your aggression does you a disservice, Miss Delaney. It almost looks suspicious. I confess, I am guilty of running out of patience. Ask your questions and be gone, Jonas, we still have many guests to greet. Poor Jonas. You cannot touch me and we both know it. Very well. What's your relationship with the group of outlaws known as the Valiant Companions? There isn't one. Really? He smirks. Then can you explain why you came here arm in arm with one of its members? And who would that be? I answer immediately. The immediate riposte catches him off guard. If he expected guilt and fear, I am going to disappoint him. Do not play coy. I am referring to Mr. Dalton. Is he a member of the Valiant Companions? Yes. Curious, I would expect him to be in chains then, since he is an outlaw. No. Silence. I am aware that I am playing a dangerous game. The best would be to avoid the conflict. That would mean that they attempt to corner me for the rest of the evening, however, and I am not letting that happen. Mr. Dalton's pardon does not absolve him of his crime before the Lord. I suppose that is between them then. Was there anything else? Yes, in fact, there is. I find it hard to believe that a woman with an interest in ancient writings could manipulate a room full of guards and neutralize one with a single hit. You are mistaken in your assumption, sir. I have plenty of experience in making men do what I want. This gets me a few chuckles from the growing circle of people following the exchange. Wit will triumph over honesty here. As for neutralizing a guard, I come from a long line of hunters. The nape of the neck has ever been a vulnerable area. Indeed. What an interesting pair you two are. Say. The officer asks a flurry of questions about Loth, myself, our relationship and so on. I am not sure what he expected. I created Ariane Delaney over 6 months ago. I know this persona as well as an experienced actor knows their favorite character. After half a dozen questions the man relents and leaves with a polite farewell. I watch his back recede into the crowd and the spectators of our altercation return to their groups. We are departing this place tomorrow, so we should be fine. Are you all right, Ariane? I sigh deeply. I apologize for this display of hostility. I did not mean to ruin the mood of the party, but I could not just stand there and suffer those shameless accusations. Please, my friend, it is I who should be apologizing. Captain Lawn's misplaced zeal has brought us no end of problems. He is as rigid as he is obtuse in his management of every issue to everyone's dismay. He cares not about spreading strife and misery so long as his precious law is upheld. Fiat justitia, ut caelum. Precisely. Justice should serve the common good in my opinion. If we could redeem as we punish, the world would be better for it. His way leaves us with no teeth and no eyes. We continue our round, though I see that Cecily's mood has plummeted after our talk. Her dislike runs deep. We have just left my drunk uncle with a trio of mature ladies when Dalton crosses our path. I am sorry to interrupt, mistress. Rose needs your help. She does. Cecily, I must beg your pardon. Oh, do not mind me, Ariane, I have been a poor host for the past hour. Some fresh air will do me good. Take care, and do enjoy the party. Thank you, Cecily, we should meet again later. Dalton leads me through a servant access to a kitchen filled with rushing staff and a side corridor. Nobody questions our passage. Are you acquainted with the staff? Yes, before you came I assisted them with the party preparations. Well done, vassal. Dalton shivers. Thank you, mistress. It's over there. I follow Dalton into a room that looks suspiciously like my own. We are still on the first floor, which means that this is the guest wing. I am surprised to see Rose is accompanied by a timid young woman in a grey dress, currently sitting on a large armchair. As I enter, Rose pats her companion's hand in an awkward attempt at comfort. She is concerned and the girl, terrified. I can see it and smell it. Curious. What is this about? Rose, says the newcomer. I thank you, however I must beg. Yes, yes, I will do as you say, though I do not approve. Ariane, I leave the young miss in your capable hands and shall return to the ballroom. Do let me know how things pan out, please. Rose leaves and closes the door behind her. I do not say anything, for her perfume leaves me no doubt. That girl is also a vassal. After 6 months of isolation, I have been found. Before I can decide what to do, the young woman stands up, gathers her courage and kneels with her throat exposed in the traditional supplicant gesture. How could I miss the 2 thin scars on her jugular? And why is she asking for me? Can vassals become someone else's supplicant? Is this adultery? Vassals are special, they are not cattle or prey but trusted seconds and aids. I feel towards her the barest hint of what I felt towards Baudouin, an unwillingness to harm, as if touching her were taboo. I now understand one of the most vital facets of their personalities: vassals are willing. Dalton chose me of his own volition, fully knowing who, and what, I am, and this woman is the same. She seeks my help because I am a vampire, and to her vampires can be trusted. It is decided, I shall assist her if I can guarantee my safety. Good vassals are precious things, and protecting one for a fellow denizen of the night is a matter of, let us say, professional courtesy. Although nothing compels me to do so, I shall assist if only for the goodwill it will get me. Yes, I can feel it in my soul. I am no longer in danger. A supplicant is harmless to me, for they seek my power, and in exchange, I will always be able to ask enough to protect myself. Speak. My name is Inez. I came here as an envoy for my master to attend to some business matters. Unfortunately, I was followed here by my previous husband. Fear, no, stark terror mars her face. Now that I look further, I notice that she has a scar on her right brow and the telltale of badly fused bones. She also bears faded marks on her left cheekbone and her lip. I do not need to see her body to know that she has suffered some terrible abuse. I take it that you did not part amicably. Inez lets out a strangled laugh that quickly turns into a sob. Annoying. Weak vassal. Wounded. Well, I can protect and calm her down, I even know how to do it. I approach the woman and place my hand on the top of her head. I caress her skin with the lightest touch and let my claws part the strands of hair. Slowly, she regains some measure of inner peace. Thank you, mistress. He is here for me. With his brothers and servants. I saw him. I left to hide, but he will find me. He will never let me go. Shoo. Your master is protecting you, I presume? Yes. Rodrigo was warned and even punished, but he never takes no for an answer and never will. Oh, when my master hears of this, it matters little. My nemesis is here now. I will not survive to see revenge, for his twisted sense of honor calls for my death. If I am not his, then no one else can have me, he said. Focus, Inez. I add quickly. And ask your favor. Mistress, I cannot ask for mortal protection. Most judges believe that marriage is until death, and many would return me to my husband to be disciplined. Please protect me. As expected. If I guarantee your safety for tonight, what will you give? Not blood, I cannot, I have nothing. A favor, mistress? Please, I beg you. Lord Suarez always pays his debts. I have never heard from this man, which means he is probably one of the Charleston vampires. I am in a unique situation to create a bond one may use in the future, at the low price of defending this mortal. This is most likely a boon. A favor and secrecy from you and your master. I do not want my presence here to be known. Yes, I can promise this. If you save me, your secret will be safe with us. Lord Suarez will agree, I would bet my life on it. Agreed. Now hide behind the bed, quickly. You too, Dalton. Now. They obey with commendable swiftness like proper vassals. I sigh as I unbutton the top of my dress and slide it off my shoulder. Whatever happened to relaxing evenings? Is this a continuation of the Bingle effect? Is the man contagious? Footsteps close in on us, the same footsteps I have heard noisily checking rooms for the past minute. My door is banged open by a tall and virile man dressed in black. I take in warm brown eyes, a mustache, and an anchor beard before I turn with fabric hiding my bared breast. Oh no. Lo siento. A little bit late for apologies, Mr. Eek. The intruder slams the door closed and takes off, leaving his prize and his dignity behind. Let's make sure he does not return. Pervert. Help. Heep. I hear swearing in the distance. I rush to the window and see a form disappear in the tree line at a corner of the manicured garden. I finish buttoning my dress as the vassals emerge from their hiding spot. Dalton looks quite proud. I think we will not see him again tonight, mistress. And you would be mistaken, my dear Dalton. People like him do not give up. We drag Inez to the bedroom opposite ours, mercifully empty, and order her to lock herself in until she hears from us. The butler who introduced me is walking towards us with thunder on his brow by the time we are finished. Was it you who screamed like that? What happened? A stranger entered the bedroom I was using to readjust my dress. This is scandalous. I described the intruder with pleasurable anticipation. I could, of course, follow the man and incapacitate or even slaughter him. There would be a risk, even should the bodies disappear. There is no need for this, however, I do not even have to dirty my hands. There will always be opportunities for violence and good hunts. Now is the time for an elegant solution. Are you saying that there is an intruder? Here. In the house of the Tillersons, answers the butler with outrage. I looked out the window and saw a shadow approaching the wall, sir. I am so scared. Are we not safe even here, in this beacon of civilization? If the man inflates his chest any more, he will surely explode. This shall not stand. Rogers, to me, let us see what this is all about. I beg you, sir, be careful. We go back the way we came. Before reaching the kitchen, we turn to a side door that is apparently used for deliveries and cross it. While I and a few servants wait on the sideline, the butler, a strong old man, and Dalton walk stealthily into the tree lean. Less than a minute after, we see them rushing back. The butler reaches us, looking a bit lost. My ever-useful vassal takes the lead. There is a full carriage, Mistress Ariane, with quite a few horses. I counted 4 men, and there are probably more around the property. They have clubs and sticks. We are beset by bandits. I must warn Mr. Tillerson. No, they are not bandits. They only sent 1 man to look around, and they have weapon to beat, not kill. They are looking for someone. I add. The butler looks at me with no small amount of confusion. Before my expertise in illegal activities is looked into, I lead the conversation towards more interesting grounds. It is time to call for reinforcements, sir. I suggest we ask the soldiers for assistance. I say, and turn to leave. Dalton immediately follows, and the poor man is carried by the wave of the small group of servants we have gathered. People are starting to whisper excitedly. We turn a corner of the mansion and reach its back. As expected, the party has spilled over, and a large group of inebriated soldiers and male landowners is currently watching a Weasley corporal in an ill-fitting uniform juggle an impressive number of knives. HRM, gentlemen, please. Over 20 people grant me their attention. HRM, yes. Gentlemen, my name is Jonathan, and I am the butler for this estate. We have spotted a group of ill-meaning. I watch him recount his discovery, and the inebriated minds of the group turns to violence with commendable speed. I am moving towards my goal, and I have yet to use any of my vampire powers. This is fun and flattering. As soon as the butler is done, I decide to stir the crowd in the right direction. Please, will you brave soldiers defend us? Who knows what those rogues are after? They could be here to abduct women. A threat. A challenge. Now that's my kind of party, yells a red-haired lieutenant with a waxed handlebar mustache. Wilkins, take your men to the back entrance and circle around. Jackson, you and your lads do the same from the delivery road. The rest, with me. When we start the scrap, jump them. Yes, sir. The drunkest group moves straight forward with surprising stealth. I follow at a good distance while Dalton and the butler, and quite a few civilians, join their improvised squad. A moment later the line of men disappears into the trees except for the Weasley man who climbs one of them. A minute passes and my hearing picks up hard breath and rustling until the lieutenant's voice breaks the relative silence. Why, good evening, lads. Immediately after, the sound of war cries, charge, countercharge, and a merciless melee starts and dies within the span of 20 heartbeats. It is not long before a procession returns to us from the garden gate. The soldiers line up with a few trussed-up captives between them, and I take the time to congratulate them and listen to their boasts one by one. Well done, puppets. I am pleased. Yes, quite pleased. This was done without anyone seriously hurt. Poor Jonathan has the beginning of what is going to be a spectacular bruise, yet it does not seem to diminish his pride in the slightest. Well done, my minions, well done indeed. You are making a mistake. We are here on a mission of honor to reclaim a liar and a whore. She will not escape her fate, says Inez's ex-husband. So you are after the women? I retort before he can take back any control of the situation. The accusation is met with the righteous roar of the assembly. Yes, how dare they sneak about to steal your women? Don't worry, friend, you'll tell us everything we want to know real soon. Come on, lads, to the barracks. With a victory cry, the soldiers leave while the happy civilians toast their resounding victory and battle prowess. Soon, the enemy troops numbered in the dozens, were all the size of Goliath and carried enough swords to equip a regiment of hussars. Ah, what beautiful tales we get when male pride and liquor intersect. I cross my arms, satisfied. And that, as they say, is that.